We think.
We think. First of all, turn on your mic.
Well,
no one will do that for you.
That's what
actually
a good
can.
producer will
Actually,
usually
Will
do.
just did.
I can. I got you.
Yeah.
Do you need
Will's
me to
got
do
the
it every
skills.
time?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix. What's up, buddy?
Dude, glad to be back.
Thanks for coming in. Now, before we allow you officially back on the show, do you subscribe to our podcast?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well then you can be here.
Yes, I do. I have a point of confusion though.
Okay, what's up?
Because I was on X earlier today.
What's up, bro? Yeah.
And I was checking out your profile because I was going to do some little Twitter tweeting in the interwebs about coming down here.
Okay.
And every day when I listen to the show,
Mm-hmm.
I hear you go by Asache now.
Yeah, that's my rebrand.
But your X profile
Mm-hmm.
has your name spelled Asachi. So I'm not sure which one it is.
No. Don't throw a wrench into my rebrand. It's Isache.
I know, but
And
but on X it says Asachi. Chee.
No, it says Che.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I need glasses.
I think you do. Let me check.
I'm cool
Now
with it
you've
though.
got me.
The Oppenheimer I'm not sure on though. I was more like with a Optimus Prime or something like that, but we'll deal with it.
Yeah, Isachi. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you had me worried there. Isachi. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go Isache.
Yeah.
It's really Isachi.
Asachi.
Isachi. So yeah, so that's why it's.
I think you should just drop the last name. Just go Brazilian soccer. That's it.
C-H-E-E. Yeah. No, it's it's all in the works, Dave.
It is. Okay.
Just wait. We've got a whole thing coming out.
When can I get my jersey?
Your Isachi jersey.
Yeah.
That's not on the. That's not on the list. Dave of College Football Matrix fame, how have you been?
Busy. Always busy.
What the hell are you? So Dusty and Danny and Dusty just got out of here, and you were handing out gifts and goodies like candy. It's like Halloween.
Well, it is like candy in a way.
What are you passing out over
the
there?
gummies. I was handing out the energy gummies.
Okay.
And
you have energy gummies now.
I got energy gummies now, and this was all off of developed through our hemp company because we signed a contract with the NFL Alumni Association.
Yeah. I see Souk promoting some of that.
Right, because Souk is his two big things that his order that goes out every month. He has his Lights Out gummies, which is for sleep.
Okay.
And I gave Danny and Dusty some of those. The energy gummies, Souk's got good energy. He works out a lot. He says he doesn't need them, so I don't send those over. And then the heating and cooling gels for his workouts. So I gave those to Danny and Dusty as well. I got a bunch here for you.
Yeah,
too.
I see that. You brought a whole box of stuff.
It's like Christmas.
Now, where do people get all your stuff?
Hempforpros.com. We make it right here in Washington County, Hillsboro.
Yeah, well, we've been out to your pad.
Yeah, well, that was a while ago. My house, the
Forest
Matrix Manor out there.
So you make it in Hillsboro?
Yeah, make it in Hillsboro. It's about 15 minutes from the house, and
well, that's great. You don't stop, do you? Do you ever sleep? Because I don't think you do.
Yeah.
Because you also have the Matrix.
I do. I got the Matrix, and since we last talked, there's been two big things that we have jumped into.
Football wise.
One of them is projecting athleticism.
Oh.
And so that started in the NFL as a special project for one of the NFL clubs.
Projecting athleticism?
Projecting it.
In other words,
we might get into this later a little bit deeper, but basically the first step was we were working with one of our NFL clubs, which, like I said, we started getting into the NFL on grading coaches.
Oh, okay.
So they were interested in the analytics of their coaching performance. But I was talking to one of the assistant ADs or GMs at one point, and I was like, why? I said, off subject, why is your undrafted free agency results so bad? Because the number of starts that were being generated by undrafted free agency was like 29th in the NFL over the last 10 years, and it was their weakest spot. And he's like, well, our drafting's really good, run 1 through 5, so we don't have a lot of undrafted free agents that we need. I said, but the guys you're bringing in aren't producing starts even after they leave. Right? So the guys they were bringing in, they didn't need them a lot, but even as they tried to stay in the NFL, they never stuck. And so we took all the data that they had, and we were able to use physics, math equations, and determine athleticism. And what this club was doing, most of the guys they were signing was below average NFL athleticism. So it turned out like 96% of everybody in the NFL has a level of athleticism about a 70 in our 0 to 100 scoring. It's about a 70. Overall average is about 79. This club was signing, everybody they were signing was under 70. These guys didn't have the athleticism, overall body athleticism to play in the NFL.
Well, how is this any different than what they test at the combine?
Well, the combine is just specific measurements of different areas of athleticism. So what happens with like the combine is people will fall in love with a certain number. This guy's hands, this guy's reach, this guy's 440 speed, but the athleticism is a combination of all of those things. And so
you just put it into a nice, juicy formula.
Nice formula. And then what we've been able to do is extract that for college.
Okay.
And then we can extract, then we changed it. Now we can project high school kids. So like I could, if you had a 16-year-old right now, I could run them through 10 drills, throw it in the math equation, and I'm about 95% certain if he's D1, D2, or D3. Athlete.
But, at 16, can he develop?
He can, but the one step that we did is we found a group of professors at Michigan State, and they had a decade-long kinesiology study on U.S. males, 7 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
So now we had all their growth charts on 15,000 kids. So you throw that into the formula. Now ours is age adjusted. So if a kid's 15, we're going to adjust his height, weight, and his athleticism to his age range, and we'll be able to project where he is going to go based on all these studies.
Wow. Okay.
What we don't have is female data. That's what we want. What we really want is combines for girls all over the country.
Yeah.
That's what I want, because I want to focus on all athletics, not just football.
Dave, God dang, man. Calm down.
It's fun.
You're doing everything. And you're still doing the old matrix and the coaching?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have 22 clients now that we help. We focus only on staffing right now.
Okay. So getting them.
We did until we developed the combine athleticism test, and now we're helping. Well, imagine from a recruiting standpoint, like a Dan Lanning or a Trent Bray, is if we have a baseline, if we know the minimum athleticism to get on the roster at Oregon, get on the roster at Oregon State, get on the roster at Portland State, get on the roster at Linfield or Lewis and Clark. If we know the minimum athleticism and we can get every kid in the state to test 7 through 18, we can project all their recruits long before those kids are ever in a camp.
And you have a bunch of college clients.
Yes.
And then you have NFL teams now.
Yes, we now have 4 NFL teams.
And now you're going to get high school. You're going to get grade school dad who's going to be calling you.
Yes.
Wanting to.
But the cool thing is, grade school dad won't be calling the coaches and bugging them anymore.
Yeah, all right.
They won't be. Yeah, they won't bug me, because I'll say do the CAT test and I'll give you a score. And if your kid's under a 70, don't bug me again. If he's over a 70, don't bug me again. But we're going to pass it on to our clients.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Cool. All right. Well, catching up with Dave Bartu of the Matrix. It sounds like we have a lot to talk about today. Now, I know that yesterday you texted me when we were discussing the college football playoff committee. When they simulated the playoff.
Yes.
There was an interesting little nugget that we were talking about yesterday that I don't know if a lot of people know, but the top 4 conference champions, the Big 4 conference champions, are getting the top 4 seeds in that tournament.
Yeah.
So in other words, Big 12 champion, which last year they project would have been Arizona had they been in the Big 12, or the year before Utah. Had they been in the Big 12, they would get a bye in the college football, in the 12-team college football playoff over, say, a Georgia like this past year who did not win their league, but still was clearly one of the better teams in the country. Okay, so that's what we were talking about yesterday. You have a follow-up to that.
I have a big follow-up to that, because they were testing the upper end, right? What would happen with 1 through 4? And so what I did is I was looking for holes in having 4 versus 12. And so one of the things, I went back and I looked at all 12. Actually, I only looked at 11 years. I threw out COVID year because that's just BS results, right? I mean, you can't use those for playoff projections at all. So in the last 11 years, and it's only happened 5 times. 5 times, though, it happened. And this is where fan base is going to lose their S when this happens. because it hasn't been addressed yet. And I've never talked about this on any radio station or anything. So if this goes somewhere, it's because we did it here.
It's because we did it
Because
here.
we did it here. Okay. But this happened 5 times in the last 11 years where a team entered the championship game in the top 12, lost, and the next week they were ranked outside the top 12. So they played. Let's say they played at Georgia, who would have beaten everybody. They lost. Now they're out of the playoffs, and the other teams that didn't even have to play a game, who would have got beat by the same team, are now in.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you
hadn't even thought about that.
Right. So once about every 2 or 3 years, what's going to happen is one of these teams is going to go in as a 8, 9, 10, 11 seed. Right. They are going to get mud hole stomped by a conference champion. They're going to drop down to 14. And because they had the disadvantage of playing and losing,
yeah,
they're out.
While some other team sits there at 15,
at
not
13,
in,
right?
13,
the team at 13
yeah.
or 12 doesn't play. They're 9-3, would have got killed by Oregon, right? If they're in the championship game, just as bad as, the team that beat them, and then they're out.
Yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it?
If
5 out of 11,
it has to. Right?
Yeah, it'll come up.
Right? So they're trying to be proactive about problems, but they haven't brought that one up.
No, I haven't heard that
I haven't heard it at all, right? And so if they're not proactive about it, now they're going to have to be reactive in season. That's going to be tougher. I don't know what you do about that though. Do you if you're in a championship game, I think the only thing they can do is like if you go into a championship game, even if you lose, you are guaranteed no worse than your seed going in.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't love that.
Right?
As much as, what if I think the first thing people are going to think is, well, why do we have conference championship games?
Exactly.
Why can't you just win the conference based on your conference record and then break ties with tiebreakers?
You mean forego conference championship game money? Come on, Asache. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's, yeah.
It's about the money. It's all about the money.
It is, but you could also add, to make up for that, you could get to 16 teams in the tournament, and there you don't have buys,
right?
So there's more games, there's more revenue,
right?
But yeah,
But anyways, if they don't make the changes, we can when it happens, you can sit at home with your drink and laugh and go, "Yeah, we talked about that."
Do you have the offhand? And we can do this next if you have it. Do you have the 5 instances where that occurred?
I can see if I can pull it up. I don't remember the teams exactly. I think there was a couple in the Pac-12 though. And maybe the listeners, if anybody listening right now hits the text line and you can remember somebody that was top 12 going into the championship game, got smoked and ended up top 12 after it. I think was there maybe an Arizona or like a Colorado when they got killed in the championship game?
Was that the Mike McIntyre
McIntyre years?
Yeah. Okay.
So there's, like I said, there's only 5. But it's real, and it will happen.
All right, well, we'll pick this up next. We've got a big, long, hefty sports show. Joey Harrington will join us at 5:30. And our friend Dave Bartu of The Matrix is in for most of today's show. Special guest host Will Ortner is here. Suk is in St. Lucia. He's in the Caribbean. So he'll be back next week. We will have more. We'll get the show started with our poll question coming up next on The Fan. alarm went off here. And it went off the second Dave opened the door to leave the studio and go get a glass of water.
Just like the instant, man.
Yeah, it was like you did something terrible. And what I love about all of it is that, everybody's actually here today. It's Friday, and usually I don't see anybody on Fridays, but there's, 10 or so people milling around. The first thing I do is I look at Dave, and Dave's basically on the ground, having a heart attack. Then I look over at Will, and Will just looks at me. He's like, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. So I just kind of go out of the studio and walk around. And then other people are out walking around going, what do we do? I don't know. Shouldn't we know what to do in the
I know what
event?
to do when I'm teaching. Like if a fire alarm went off today when I was a teacher, I would have known how to get them to safety.
Yeah. So if a fire alarm goes off while you're teaching in the classroom,
there's a process and procedure. You go and you grab the red clipboard and then you walk out and
you walk them out, right?
Yeah. Here
do you because most people, when they hear a fire alarm, they think they're like, oh, that probably somebody just pulled it or it's a mistake or whatever. They don't think there's actually a fire.
Right.
Do you at a school, you have to just assume there's a fire? You have to follow the protocol.
You treat it like there's
100%.
a fire. Because if I follow the protocol and someone pulled the fire alarm, I'm fine. There's no issue.
Right.
If I don't follow the procedure and there's a fire, I'm gone and never let back.
You're toast.
Here, I think I just start throwing you and Dave through windows, right, to get you to safety.
Yeah, Dave. Will said he'd carry us out.
I got you.
You got an Achilles injury.
I know. I'm like the best guy to take bear hunting right now because I can't outrun anybody. The nice thing is we're right on the street. I mean, unless they bolt the doors closed and we can't break the glass.
Well, apparently there's a new company moving in upstairs, and they have triggered the fire alarm a couple times, but none of us knew what to do in the event of a fire here. So that's encouraging. Alas, it was not a fire, and the fire alarm is off. So we press on. Here is today's poll question. It is brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. Before we get to that, yesterday, if the NBA Finals air exclusively on Amazon Prime, would you watch? That was yesterday's poll question. 52% of you said yes, I already have Prime. 28% said no chance. 14% said doubt it. And only 6% of you said yes, no matter what, which I found those answers very interesting. So those with Prime, of course, you already have it. Of course, you're going to watch it. But those without Prime, most people said, you lose me, which that's kind of what Will was saying yesterday, is that most people probably wouldn't sign up for it if the NBA Finals were on there, if they didn't already have it. Very interesting. Today, the question is, and it is there on X at 1080 The Fan for you right now. It's pinned to the top of our X account. What is the hardest thing to do well? Play quarterback, switch hit, shoot the three ball, or play golf?
Oh, man.
Now, the reason I asked this question is, one, I want to tee it up for Joey Harrington later because I think he's done all of those things.
It's Division I football!
At a pretty high level. And then JT Snow of the San Francisco Giants. I don't know how big of a baseball guy you are, Dave.
Oh!
I do hate the Giants.
Well, we're all united in that hatred. JT Snow said recently that switch hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports. And I thought about that, and I went, I don't know that that's true. And then I thought, playing quarterback's got to be the hardest thing in sports. And then I thought, well, my God, golf is hard. And then we added shoot the three ball, which, by the way, is getting blown out of the water on this poll. That one of these things is not like the other. But anyway, that's what we're asking Joey today, and that's what we're asking you. So vote and vote hard on X at 1080 The Fan. I'm going to guess it's probably play quarterback. But if you look at the number of people who do those things at the highest of high levels, you only have 10 to 15 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You have maybe 25 to 30 guys in golf, because I have a buddy who played on the Korn Ferry Tour who once told me, he said, any tour you're on, the PGA Tour all the way down, every one of them has 20 to 30 guys that are just better than everyone else, and then from there everybody else is swimming in kind of the same pool. It's all just, do they get hot? Do they make putts? So, you have at the highest level of golf, you have maybe 20 or 30. You have my line of demarcation for the 3-pointer is over 40%. This last season, there were 40 guys who shot the 3 over 40% in the NBA. And then switch hitters, I mean, I had to do some digging on this. Ellie De La Cruz, the kid from the Reds that everybody loves, he's a switch hitter. Francisco Lindor is a switch. Of course, Adley Rutschman is hitting from both sides of the plate. Jose Ramirez of the Guardians. And I can't think of many other really good switch hitters in baseball. It might be that JT Snow is right and it's switch hitting.
I saw your poll when I was kind of doing surfing the interwebs before I came on here.
Impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, and I voted instantly
on
quarterback.
Yeah,
that was my first thought.
Me too.
But right now that you think about it, it's like, what is really the overall hardest thing to do consistently, right? And we're talking about hitting a baseball.
They say that's the hardest thing to do in sports.
Right? I would say hitting a baseball that's moving is a little tougher than hitting a golf ball that ain't.
I think that's right, but the flip side of the golf argument is if all you have to do is have tried to play golf to know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And it is the only sport or activity or game, whatever you want to call it, where the ball does not move. You have to move the ball every time. So that makes it unique. Golf's just shockingly hard.
Right. And your surfaces, your angle, you got balls below your feet, above your feet, sand, grass, fairway fringe,
weather,
all of it.
All
right?
on you.
Wind, everything.
All on you.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that golf, you don't have to have any sort of major physical traits to play it at a very high level. Quarterback, you do. I mean, you have to. I mean, like I could never have played quarterback. I can't sling the ball like that.
Right.
Of course, I'm sexy enough and smart enough to play the position.
Right. Well,
but my physical traits.
You didn't need to say that. We all know that.
Oh, yes.
Rhetorical
understood.
Statements on the show already.
No, and then switch hitting is interesting because I see where he's going with it. It's like hitting a baseball is like the hardest thing to do. And these guys are throwing faster than ever. And now you have to do it well from both sides of the plate. And if anybody's ever tried that, I mean, have you ever tried to swing a golf club the other way or swing a baseball bat the other way?
Right, go Mickelson mid-round.
It's impossible. You look like an idiot.
Right, I hook the ball every time. So when it's dogleg right, I'm going lefty. Right?
Yeah. No. So what do you think on second thought?
On second thought, I think it's really intriguing. I mean, I don't have an argument against it.
Switch hitting.
I guess for everybody listening, one of my questions would be, what did you miss? What could be out there?
Yeah, right.
Right. You got quarterback. You got golf. Right. You got switch hitting.
There probably is one more.
What is
hockey
out
goalie?
There? Yeah, right. I was thinking like hockey. You know, shutting a team out in hockey. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if hockey goalie.
You can't just get a big fat guy and throw him in the crease.
No,
that's not how that works.
But is it the hardest thing to do well?
Consistently.
Yeah, because I mean, like, aside from Martin Brodeur, pretty much every other hockey goalie the last 10 to 15 years, they've been hot, and that's why they've won a Stanley Cup, right? Like Quick in LA, he got really hot 2 playoffs in a row, and he was able to win his titles that way. But the rest of the time, he wasn't as hot, so he wasn't able to win as much. That would be my feeling.
Well, let's use Steph Curry. Somebody brought up Steph Curry on the Vancouver 4 text line.
Yeah.
He can play golf. He does it pretty well.
Yeah.
Not at the highest level, but he's really good at it. He shoots the 3 better than anybody ever. Could he play quarterback?
If he developed through that process and his body was for that, it's hard to say. This goes back to the athleticism we talked about at the top of the show.
Yeah, he could just go to the
It's
Matrix.
like you've met these guys though.
Grade 'em out.
You've been around enough of these athletes. These guys can do anything. It's just their path that they went on in their life.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Right.
That's the whole thing. What Suk always talks about, like if all the American stud athletes played soccer, we dominate.
Right.
But they don't.
No,
that's not what we do here.
Right. And it's fractionalized with a ton of different sports. You know, you have a basketball body, you got a football body, you got a baseball body, you know, but could all of these guys interchangeably, if they had a different path in life, end up somewhere else
Great
as a
question.
professional?
Great question.
Probably a lot of them.
I think a lot of them could, yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
You know, if Steph Curry was
But not
playing
all.
golf his whole career and his dad was a PGA professional with that athleticism,
I don't know.
I think the
don't
one
know.
thing we're missing in a lot of this, though, is even though I'm talking about athleticism, the greatest paradox for me as a data guy is the mentals.
Yeah, right.
The mental makeup
How
of
do
a
you
professional
quantify that?
athlete,
Yeah.
that to me defines the difference between a true pro and a guy that has pro ability. It's what's between the ears.
100%.
And I mean, that's why these NFL teams, that's why, I mean, they're doing brainwave tests on these guys to see if it matches up the right frequencies
Yeah.
to be an
and
NFL
you can,
player.
I'm sure in these interviews and stuff like the combine or whatever, you can say all the right things to convince a GM that you've got it between the ears and you're a competitor and you're this and that. I don't know. I don't know that you can ever truly measure that. That would be, you want to talk about a $1 billion idea? Come up with that, Dave.
The psychological aspect of it. Well, that's why we started working. We have the coaching side, and we started working on the athleticism side. They already have a lot of athleticism stuff internally.
Yeah.
But the psychological stuff, that's something that the media never talks about, mainly because you're never given access to it. That is an enormous piece of the puzzle that you and me never see. Right? There's no psychological combine that we're ever going to see because
but they test it though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're in there grilling those
Yes.
guys. So what do you think is the biggest, from your experience working now with the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is the biggest marker for what is between the ears of a professional athlete? What do they look at most? What do they want to hear most?
I haven't dug into that stuff because
that would be
your
fascinating.
psychological profile is your whole life.
Sure.
Right?
Of course.
Did mom and dad get divorced? Is dad in prison? You know, did dad die or mom die? Or, you know, how many siblings do you have?
What
How many
motivates
times
you?
did you move? Right? And so, I mean, the list of psychological profiling on trying to get that professional mind, I think that's difficult.
Yeah, it's like if you sat down and Michael Jordan, you know, was coming out of North Carolina and entering the NBA, and you were, you know, the Blazers.
Yeah.
The Blazers were looking at Jordan. Sorry to bring that up, but you know, and they ask him, you know, I guess put it this way: how many guys, if you interview them and you're like, wow, I think this Michael Jordan kid really has a killer instinct.
Yeah.
You know, how many guys also in that draft would you think have the same killer instinct when it turns out he was what, one of one, right, for that decade? I mean generational. He was his generational player. Yeah, I mean, I think Kobe had a little bit of that. I think Tiger Woods certainly has it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unhealthy, right? Like it's like that's how you measure it, is how unhealthy their relationship is.
How psychotic is this guy to win?
Yes,
right.
Do they want to win or do they not want to lose so bad that it consumes them? And that's really unhealthy. I know I don't have that, because I've been around enough people that have that to understand that I don't have that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a fascinating question about athletes.
Yeah, I was talking to one assistant GM about a particular player. I believe it was Levon Kirkland, linebacker at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And his psychological testing, it basically came back is whatever this guy, and this is the kind of guy they're looking for. Whatever he decided to do in life, he happened to end up on the path of NFL football, pro football.
Right.
It didn't. They said it didn't matter what he did.
Yeah.
It was going to It was. You know.
He's so focused.
I am putting my foot down on the pedal until I see the checkered flag or God.
Yeah.
Right. It's just.
There's some people wired.
Yeah.
That way.
It's just unbridled OCD on that moment.
Right.
That's the guy they're looking for.
Yeah.
But
how many of the guys have that?
Right. Exactly.
And how does the Matrix measure? That's the $1 million question.
Oh, I wish I had access to that kind of
That's
stuff.
super
But then,
cool, though.
then I'd go down a rabbit hole that would just never end.
Right.
I'm happy with what I do now, but it's interesting starting to peel some of those layers back as you get more information. But boy, there's a lot that they do that you and I never ever see.
It's quite a science. All right, AAA heating and cooling poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. What's the hardest thing to do well? Play quarterback, switch hit, shoot the three, or play golf? Vote hard. This will be addressed with Joey Harrington in about 2 hours, because I believe he has done all of those things quite well. And so we will talk to him about that, and we'll talk to him about the mindset of killer instinct athletes. We'll do that at 5:30. Up next, NBA last night, and I don't know, did you find the 5 instances in the last 11 years where the team fell out of the top 12 by playing in the
No,
championship?
I haven't figured that one
Okay.
out yet.
I
I'm
wanna get
logged
that.
in. Yeah,
All right.
we're going to want to find it.
All right, it's 3:34. Let's go to Will Sports Center. And so is our friend from the Matrix, Dave Bartu. So, before we get to
What?
NBA last night, by the way, what's your favorite Bartu drop that we play of you? Do you want to hear them?
You got a couple of them. Now, I do know. I'm curious because I saw that the drop winner was my son is an idiot.
That's right.
My son is an idiot.
But I know there's two drops that vastly precede that are very similar.
Yeah. Yes, there are. That, by the way, you can get a T-shirt. My son is an idiot on 1080thefan.com. Here, I think this is what you're talking about.
You're an idiot, Sue.
That's one of them.
Rob is an idiot.
Those are good. What about this? I love this one. This I don't know what you were so fired up about, but
Oh,
you were jacked. And then we got this.
oh man.
Oh, I know.
Hey, Lane Kiffin.
You're so cute, Jason.
He is a 5-star douche magoo.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
How about that? And then I think we have one more.
Speaking of comings of Jesus and things like that,
Right? Do you have bet the
Jetta and the Bug. I don't know. Is that on here? I don't see that. We might have gotten rid of that.
There's just so many in the queue. It's gone.
My favorite is
What?
douche canoe.
He is a 5-star. I think it's douche magoo.
I think you're right, but he meant to say canoe.
He
Yeah.
is a 5-star douche magoo.
Douche magoo. Okay, let's focus. We're going to get to NBA last night coming up. Dave maintains that anybody to win an NBA championship must have 3 things. They all have 3 things in common, and we will talk about that. But real quick, going back, resetting this from earlier. Yesterday, we were talking about the simulation of the college football playoff with 12 teams that the committee did, and they switched conference affiliations. So Arizona, Utah, and the like in the Big 12, and so on, Washington, Oregon, in the Big 10. And they simulated it that way. And what ended up happening is each of the last 2 years, Utah in 2022 and Arizona in 2023 would have first-round byes in the college football playoff tournament because they would have won the Big 12 and they would have had a bye over teams that would have been ranked higher than them who maybe did not win a conference title. Now, we debated that. Will and I both agree that, we like emphasis on conference championships. Don't mind it. And the other thing is even if you kind of get screwed over or you think you're better than the team that gets the 4 seed, so what? You're still in the tournament. It's not like last year where Florida State gets completely hosed and they're completely out, or Georgia doesn't, So
Exactly. And look, it's tit for tat, right? Because you went to the SEC for the money, Texas. Right? Don't complain that you're not in the top 4 because you also made the choice to go into a much tougher conference.
Fair. Definitely
Right?
fair.
So everybody makes their bed and has to lie in it. It's never going to be perfect. And if that's the worst thing people bitch about, so be it. I think this is going to be a bigger one.
This one will be a bigger one. Yeah. So you brought up this, which has not been talked about much at all. I haven't heard them talking about this. And it is that in the 12-team format, what happens when a team plays in its conference championship game? So they are 1 win from potentially a top 4 seed.
Right.
But they lose that game. And then they get bounced out of the top 12 and do not make the tournament. Meanwhile, somebody in the top 12, or maybe a team that was 13th or 14th, just sitting there, doesn't play on championship weekend, and they get in the tournament. There's going to be a lot of people upset about that. So I asked you went back and looked in the last 11 years, that has happened 5 times.
Yeah.
So you have those over there?
And I found my spreadsheet where it happened. And the most recent one, Duck fans should know this one, right? I mean, if you're a Duck fan and this happens to you, so in 2021, the Ducks entered the championship game 10-2. They are 10th in the country, right? If they don't play that game, they are locked into a 12-team playoff. They lose and fall to 14th the next week.
They were out of the tournament. They lost to Utah. Is that the one they lost to?
Yeah, 2021.
2021,
I don't know.
I think they lost.
Yeah, maybe they lost to Utah.
Was that the one where Cristobal left and they lost back-to-back games to Utah?
So it could have been, right?
I think. Wow. Okay. So
right?
it happened to Oregon.
But it happened. So they went in at 10, They lose, and now they're 14, and they're out of the playoffs. TCU, 2017, went into the championship game at number 11. They lose. The very next weekend, ranking weekend, they're 15th. They're
Ooh.
out.
Okay, so that was not that Oregon year.
Yeah.
That was not the one where they.
That was 2022, wasn't it? Where they lost?
Well, they did lose. Yeah, it wasn't
To Utah?
back-to-back games, but they lost twice to Utah. They lost at Utah, then they came home, beat Oregon State, lost to Utah in the championship game, and then that's the game they went and lost to Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl.
Right. So it was the previous year that they lost in the championship game.
No,
No?
that was it.
Okay, that was it?
I just
Okay.
thought it was back-to-back games to Utah, but it wasn't.
No. Okay. But regardless, they were 10. They
Yep.
dropped to 14.
Okay.
Okay. 2017, TCU enters the championship game as 11, loses, drops to 15.
Who'd they lose in the title game to?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Arizona, 2014.
Okay. I remember that. Is that Rich Rod?
That
I think
had to
that's
be Rich Rod, man. They enter the game 10-3,
Yeah.
and they drop to number 12 and out. They entered at 10, and they dropped to number 12, and they're out.
Well,
And
they,
I know
they
people
would be in it. 12.
No, they wouldn't be in at 12 because the highest ranked G5 was 17th. So you really can't look at the 1 through 12.
Yeah,
you
so
have to
Oregon-
be looking at 1 through 11.
That was
in the
Rich Rod,
scenarios.
and Oregon beat them 51-13 in the championship
Right.
game.
Now a lot of people say,
But
well,
you know,
they
you
deserve-
lose 51-13, get out of the tournament. You don't belong.
I know, but they got kicked out by playing a team that was really damn good that would
Yeah.
have beat a lot of teams in the top 12, 51-13.
Mm.
Okay. Then you had Colorado.
Yeah,
Boy,
Oregon was ranked
there's some
number
East
2.
Coast bias here, dude. Colorado.
They're all Pac-12 teams.
2016. They entered at number 8 and left at number 12. They fell behind. That allowed Oklahoma to sneak in. So there's 4. Now I was wrong. There wasn't 5. But here's what happened to Wisconsin. Wisconsin entered the championship game at 6.
What year?
And this was 2016. They exited at 9. So at 6, you're talking about a first round home game. Now you're talking about a first round road game, and you get penalized. So there's several of these instances. Auburn, ranked number 2 in the country going in the championship game. So they're basically in a lock for a bye. Now they're number 7, hosting a really tough home team. So, I think what it comes down to is about once every 3 years, you are going to have a situation where the team enters 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, dear.
They lose, and they're going to be out of the top 12.
I wonder, just spitballing here, I would imagine that teams that are that close to the conference championship are going to go for the conference championship.
Mm-hmm.
But what about a scenario where a team looks at that and goes, you know what?
We're not even going.
We're not going to, it's not that we're not going to go. It's that we're not going to make that game. We're 5th in the rankings.
Yeah.
We lose this week. We're 9th in the rankings, and we sit there and we stay there. We're not dropping out of the top 12.
Oh, so universal opt out of your championship game,
Not opt out. Just tank and don't make it.
right? Well, I mean, let's say you have a conference championship game and one of your teams is 11, 10, 9, right? Do you go, let's not have it this year? I know that's not plausible for them to do it.
Yeah, they can't really do that, though.
No, they can't. There's just there's too many requirements. Again, back to the money getting paid to host these games and play these games. But I'm just surprised nobody's looked at this. They're talking about all these scenarios and they're not looking at what I think is the biggest one staring them right in the face.
No, it's true. It's a good point. It will be interesting to see what happens, but I have to think that, well, now that the Pac-12 is gone, the top 4 teams are the champions from the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, and ACC.
Right.
This is mostly going to apply to the team that loses the Big 12 and the ACC championship.
Yes.
Because the team that loses the SEC and the Big 10 championships, those leagues are so good and deep.
Yeah, they're not
that
falling out
that
of the top
team
12.
ain't falling out of the top 12.
It'll be an ACC. It will be
The
a
Big 12,
Big 12
team,
issue
every time.
Right. But it will be an issue.
Yep, it will be an issue. Oh,
And whoever that happens to,
Jesus.
they're going to feel like Florida State.
yeah, they are.
Sucks to be you, buddy.
Well, you heard it here first. All right, NBA last night next on The Fan.
A surprise at the NFL draft.
Knicks Sixer series was really good. I enjoyed Josh Hart hitting a big shot for the Knicks because I really liked him as a Blazer. Thought that's the type of player that I like. Dave, I love the Josh Harts and the Lou Dorts of the world that just get. I mean, they're bulldogs. I love those guys. Now, I wonder if I was thinking about this watching the Knicks win, and the Knicks they're very Jalen Brunson dependent in my narrow view, but and so I don't think they're going all that far. But who knows? They're really scrappy, and they get after you. But have we ever seen? Can you think of another team, maybe in any sport? Well, not. Let's keep it to basketball. That had the connection from college to pro, quite like Villanova and the Knicks, because you have Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and DiVincenzo. Those guys were all at Villanova, and they've brought that same style of play, the exact same. It's the same team now in the NBA with the Knicks. I think that's pretty cool. And I was trying to rack my brain about, have 3 more teammates ever from college ever teamed up in the pros and been just as good. And I say just as good. Nova won a couple titles, but haven't won anything with the Knicks. But they play the same win, I think.
But they're playing great with the Knicks, though.
Yeah,
I mean, you think it all
it's the
things
same
considered,
thing.
3 guys that end up at the same place.
It's pretty rare. It's
Yeah.
pretty rare.
Well, how do you get them all together? Even if you take all the best players from Oregon or Washington or Oregon State, and it has to be. I mean, you have to have 3 NBA players over what?
Yeah.
8-10 years, and
Less
they all
than
have
that.
to end up in the same spot out of 32 teams.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty wild.
I mean, it would be wild for those 3 to be on the same team anywhere,
Yeah.
let alone in New York.
Yeah.
So it is pretty special, and I agree with you on the 3-point. I mean, you talk about redemption after bricking the free throw and costing him.
Josh Hart. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know about you, he wanted no part of that 3-pointer, like that, because he knows his role. Like, he's a role guy, but they were passing that ball around like a hot potato, and he was looking around like, oh crap, there's no one to throw it to, and I'm wide open. Damn it, I better shoot it, and he freaking drains it like a boss. So I like the Knicks. I like Jalen Brunson. I like how they play. But come on, it's Boston and everybody else in the East. I thought that Buddy Hield. Did you see the end of the game by chance?
I didn't. I was his dude. There was 3.7 seconds left. Why did you heave that up like that?
Yes.
Right. I mean,
He chucked it.
I think it bounced off the backboard and the rebound was secured before the horn went off.
Yeah. Did he panic?
He totally panicked.
What is he doing? And why is he the one shooting? I mean, I don't know. I thought that was.
Well, I think they're hoping to catch lightning in the bottle because he was hot from the corner.
Yeah, he
in
was.
the first half, and he got it. Actually, at the end of the whole first half, it didn't matter where it was. If he had his feet even reasonably set, it was going in, and you could see the play coming. He was curling around to the right side so he could catch it with his left hand and shoot to the right. But he didn't even try to square up.
No,
He
weird.
just, yeah.
I wonder if he even knew there were 3.7.
I think he totally panicked.
Pulled a J.R. Smith. So Philly, great series, by the way. Philly was outscored in that series 650 to 649. That's how close that series was. And now Joel Embiid is the only MVP to ever not make the conference finals. He remains the only MVP. He is the only MVP to never make the conference finals. So very good series, but Knicks, while I'll be rooting for them, it's kind of hard to root for them.
You're not expecting much
James
more
Dolan.
than this, right?
No, but I think it'll be a fun series with them in Indiana. At any rate, the big story last night ended up being Pat Bev, your boy Patrick Beverly of the Bucks. And I know that pretty much everyone has talked about this today, so I mean, we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on it, but we will touch on what he did and how he got everybody riled up next. It is 3:57 on the Fan. Oh, hey, it's Rob sticking around for Window Nation, my bros. Another great deal. They kind of switch up their deals for you if you need new windows each month. And And Dave Bartu of The Matrix in today. Thank you for coming in, Dave. We appreciate you. We love you, Dave. Will Ortner is here. Big Sook's out. He'll be back middle of next week. Ryan Buckley will be back Monday. He's
Everybody's gone, man.
I know. Well, it's beginning to be that time of year.
Yeah.
We will have Joey Harrington on our show for story time coming up at 5:30. And some other cool stuff. I got some sports snorts. You know, there's a little scuttlebutt coming out of Washington in their football program about something going on up there. So we'll talk about that coming up. But we are discussing the NBA and the Knicks. And I like the Knicks. I like Brunson. Seems like a good dude. Love my former Blazer great Josh Hart. Love how they play. A big Tibbs guy. I've always been a big Thibodeau guy. So there's my team I can root for in the East. The New York Knicks.
I don't blame you. Look what they're getting out of those guys.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I mean, I was watching the game last night with my son, and he's just like, Embiid, Maxey, Healed.
Yeah.
How is New York sticking with him? I'm like, you know, and he's like, you know, they're just
Scrappy.
guttier and tougher, man.
Scrappy.
He's like, they're talking about firing Darvin Ham. How about the guy who can't get the Sixers out of the first round?
Well, you know, it's funny. They fired Darvin Ham today, the Lakers, and the guy who can't get the Sixers out of the first round is on the list to be hired for the Lakers.
Oh, man.
These guys, it's all just a rotating cast of characters.
It is. That's probably one of the biggest problems I've found in the NFL, going back to the coaching stuff. You want to talk about, I thought college football was antiquated in their good old boy system. The NFL is amazing.
Yeah, you see a lot of the
They
same
are
names.
so far.
Are you talking about like position coaches?
All of the coaches, all of them. They are so far behind the rest of sports. It's amazing.
Wonder why. Why do you think that is? They just have relationships and
yeah, I think a lot of it's
they're
just
familiar
that
with
relationships. They know the guy. It's easy. You know, they all vouch for each other, so there's no bad referrals or anything like that. You know,
right? Yeah, it's interesting. It's true. I mean, that you can see that from a mile away,
right? But you look. I mean, you look at on paper. You look at the guys Philly has. I mean, they have a former MVP.
Oh yeah. Oh,
right, they got a former MVP.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking Eagles. I'm like, what?
Do you know who wins most of the NBA titles? Teams with
MVPs.
MVPs under 35 years old.
Yeah, you said that they have to have three things in
There's
common.
almost three things in common
for an NBA champion.
NBA champion, right? Number one, actually the two go hand in hand. It is a former MVP that's under 35.
Okay.
LeBron, last championship,
Curry.
35. Curry is now 36. He ain't ever going to win one.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, 34. So if you look at all the numbers, your number one guy needs to be an MVP, needs to be under 35. If you don't have that, you have what? Once in the last 25 years, Toronto with Kawhi. Now, I know you'd probably argue with me and say, hey, if Kawhi is healthy 82 games a year and played hard, that's an MVP player.
So you're saying he was not an MVP.
But there's always outliers, right?
Yeah.
There's no perfect thing. But, you know, look at all of the champions over the last 25 years.
They have an MVP.
Their number one guy
Under
is an
35.
MVP that's under 35.
Yeah. So that would be so Boston could break the mold
Boston could break the mold.
if they don't beat Denver.
Right, if they
Or, I
don't
mean,
beat
if they
Denver.
beat Denver.
But Denver has a 29-year-old MVP.
Yeah.
Right? Embiid's still 30. You know, when people were talking about, oh, Dame wants to go to Miami, my first thought was, why? They don't have an MVP.
Well, they have Giannis.
No, Miami. Remember,
Oh,
Dame wanted to go to
sorry.
Miami.
Yeah, sorry.
Right? There's no MVP there. And so when he went to the Bucks, my first thought is that was the best place possible because you have an under 35 MVP.
Yeah.
That's who wins these things.
That's simple.
It really is. LeBron at Miami, under 35 MVP. Steph at Golden State, under 35 MVP. Last year, under 35 MVP, Denver.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So what I'm hearing is hammer the Nuggets because there's no other MVP or team that
That's
fits
right.
that mold, correct?
They're all out. Durant's out.
Exactly. So it's
Curry's
like
out.
it's like, you know, it cracks me. Well, it doesn't crack me up, but it's like it's really that simple. When people and the other third thing that you're looking at is that almost all championship teams not only have that under 35 MVP, they also build in the draft. We need to trade to get guys around Dame. No, you need to draft them. If you don't draft them, you don't win, right? I mean, that's right, because look at Golden State. There's only 2 destination places that have won a title without drafting everybody, right? L.A. and Miami. That's it. Now you can also argue Toronto once in 25 years. Okay, Toronto's a huge outlier.
Big outlier. Yeah.
Huge outlier.
What they
Okay,
built. Yeah.
but Miami, we know they can recruit guys, but they also had pretty good player,
Dwayne Wade.
right? LA has been able to recruit everybody forever. Just has been able to. So, but San Antonio, draft. Golden State, draft. So you think about this, the number one thing to win a NBA title is draft luck.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all the outliers like Dallas with Dirk, MVP.
MVP, right?
And
You go through it. I've done it. I'm not making stuff up.
No, I know.
I'm doing this.
I'm just trying to. So Bucks, Raps, Lakers. So all these recent champions we've covered.
Right.
Then you get into the Spurs Heat.
Right.
Back in the day,
and David Robinson, MVP under 35. Tim Duncan under 35 MVP. And guess what? The Spurs got lucky that David Robinson, they got the first pick, and they turned around and got the first pick the next year.
Oh, totally.
Right? Boston gets Larry Bird. Right? That's draft luck.
Celtics with Garnett was an MVP, right?
Yes.
All right. Spurs.
So
Heat,
you start looking at it that way, and so like coming into this
Pistons.
season.
Pistons didn't have one.
Right.
So there's an outlier.
But that's 35 years ago, 40 years ago, man.
No, it was 2004. 20 years.
Was it?
Yeah, because it was Rasheed and Chauncey and Rip Hamilton, those guys.
Okay, my mistake.
It's all right.
My
But
mistake.
it's an outlier.
Right.
And then you go, you're back in the Bulls. Like you're back
but
with
the Bulls
Jordan.
drafted Michael.
I know.
And again,
So really,
who got lucky in that draft? The Bulls did.
I went through.
You have to draft everything, and that's why I always said, like with the Blazers, you can't trade your way into a title. You have to draft it.
Yeah,
so
they screwed up by taking Myers Leonard and Zach Collins and
that's-
maybe even C.J. McCollum.
That's where they really, you could say they blew it. But if you look back in those drafts, what other guys could they have taken instead of those guys that may have made the difference? Bam
Adebayo's one.
That's it.
Not the Myers. What about the Myers Leonard draft?
I'll
go look.
I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but I remember looking back through it and going, who else could they have got in that draft? And again, it's draft luck. You got lucky with Dame, right place, right time.
Well, it was a
right?
good pick. I mean, you
Yeah,
got
but it is a good pick.
got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, it was a good pick, but a part of that is draft luck, being in the right place at the right time to draft that guy.
Yeah, Myers Leonard that year. I mean, Andre Drummond.
Eh.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a stretch.
Right, there's nothing.
Draymond.
What? Oh, Draymond. Yeah,
Draymond
is he that
way
year?
down there.
He's the
Second
35th
round.
pick.
Right.
Jay Crowder's 34. Chris Middleton is 39.
Yeah, but you're getting into.
Now you get into minutia.
It's hard to blame him for
right. And
not seeing a
Middleton was
second round.
drafted and put on the scrap heap, and Milwaukee picked him up. It wasn't like he was good right out of the draft.
Yeah, so they could have had. I mean, realistically, Andre Drummond for that one.
Right, but if it was absolutely perfect, they have Dame, CJ. Let's say you get Draymond Green, and then what? Bam.
Well, CJ, the famous one about CJ is Giannis went 5 picks later.
Draft luck. Right.
So they could have. I mean,
that was it.
that was
right?
it.
That was
right
it.
there. That was it. Right there.
That was it. If they draft Giannis instead of him,
Giannis.
maybe it works. So I think a lot of it is draft luck, but I do
Gobert was in that
believe if
draft
you
too.
look at the numbers, you absolutely. I mean, 90% of the champions in the last 40 years, you have a under 35 MVP.
Well, as Will said, hammer the Nugs, because that's the team that's left that has the under 35 MVP.
Right? They bet the Jetta and
Bet
the
the jet and
Chevy.
the bug on that. You know. All right. Where were we? Oh, Pat Bev. Let's get to that. Well, we're not going to spend
I
too much
thought
time
that was
on
way more interesting than Pat Bev being a douche
100%.
canoe.
Yeah, like we don't need to just spend 10 minutes calling him a donkey because we all know that he's a donkey.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of things about that that are let's discuss. Okay, we'll do that next. And then in the news on the Fan. Let's get this Patrick Beverly stuff out the way. He is a donkey. We know that. Let's play a little bit of what he said. Well, it's the whole thing of why he's being raked over the coals today. But of course, the Bucks get eliminated by the Pacers. Patrick Beverly on the bench towards the end of the game. He throws the ball at a fan. Fan throws the ball back. He throws the ball back at the fan, which I get being, heat of the moment. You throw it once, but twice? I mean, how, wow.
If you're a fan, why didn't you keep the ball, though?
Well, he missed the first time. He hit the lady.
He hit the woman. And you can't keep the ball. I thought about that. In baseball.
I'd have just grabbed it and walked out. Cool.
Well, here's the question. If let's say somehow the ball ends up way up at the 300 level.
Yeah. It's not coming back. Yeah, the guys down there are like, yeah, that's just.
They're going to want it back, though, aren't they? Like, do they take the football they go get, right? If they kick it over, sometimes they kick, say, the extra point, and it goes over the netting.
I don't think in the NFL they do that anymore. I think it's finders keepers on the football now.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's like a baseball. Finders keepers.
Well, I think they ought to let you keep the basketballs.
Yeah, especially if he's being a putz like that.
That's right. Yeah, what a douche. Anyway, then he goes into the locker. So after all that, he knows that he has done this, not once but twice, and he knows that's wrong. But then here's what happens at his locker.
Here.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Before I finish.
Yeah.
You subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not.
So you can't interview me then. No
Okay,
disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to kind of get over that hump, or maybe. Was it anything they did in particular, or was it just one of those where the bucket didn't go down, there wasn't the stop, they made one? What kind of prevented that you all from being able to get over, kind of like you have in the past?
You move that mic, please, or just get out the circle, please, for me, please, ma'am. If you're not subscribed to my pod, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So weird. What even is that? Like, does he
Who
really
cares?
Right?
I mean, that doesn't even make any money.
Does he think that though?
I
Or is
don't
he
know.
just being an ass?
Is he that important?
Self-important?
Right?
I think
did
he
Did
is.
he ask that to everybody? That would be one of my questions. I mean, did he ask
No,
every
He
single
did it to
person?
Milwaukee reporters earlier in the
He
year.
did?
Yeah,
He
it's-
thinks that.
It's a Barstool podcast, so he's got about 250,000 subs on there, I think.
So he really believes that anybody in the locker room interviewing him or with a microphone or a recorder after a game should be subscribed to his podcast. Like, if he really believes that?
I don't know that he really believes it, but it's a way to talk about his podcast. Like you too, I don't know if you knew about his podcast before, but you do now.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing. See, that to me is more believable, that he just wanted to he's doing bits and he wants to get the word out that he has a podcast and that's why he did that. That's more believable than he actually thinks people should be subscribed to his podcast in order to interview him. Good grief.
Built to ass tour.
I don't know. I'm taking your bet. I'm thinking he's that damn important.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't think that guy
Dude.
doesn't surprise me as bright enough to figure out marketing like that.
Is there another player in the NBA that would ask that would say that? Like, I was thinking about this last night. Like, I could maybe see Draymond Green doing that.
But he would be doing it for marketing.
Yeah.
That would be intentional.
He's smart enough.
He's smart enough. He's marketing that. And then he'd probably go, just kidding. Ask me a question.
Right.
Right? He got his plug in.
Dude,
No,
Pat Bev.
I think he is just that big of an a-hole.
Did you see Draymond break down the fight and how it was?
The fight?
Yeah, like he broke down Pat Bev throwing the ball at the fan and being like, you can't do this. This is worse than him shoving Chris Paul. Like, Adam Silver has a problem.
Well, Adam Silver does have a problem. Like, you gotta punish him for this. I don't know how many games he gets, but he's gonna get a lot.
He's
can't be doing that.
He's 35. He's done.
Well, that's true. He may just be. All the teams
He's
are
over
like,
35.
Yeah.
Is he former MVP?
Not an MVP. He's done.
Definitely not. Yeah, you're right. Maybe teams just are like, we're not going to deal with your crap. Although he's still a scrappy little player. It's just, man, my biggest pet peeve with that, and again, we don't need to belabor because I'm sure you guys have heard about this all day on every show, but the thing that really bothers me is when you act like a donkey and then you just apologize, right? Like you do that over and over. Like, there's no action. It's your character. right? Be better. Like, learn. This is why he's the worst kind of person.
Well,
he doesn't learn and grow. He just keeps acting up and then apologizing. That is a horrible cycle. If you keep acting up, like, forget the apology then. Just own that that's who you are.
well, I guess I just don't understand. I mean, he went with the Ricky Bobby, no due respect, so he should have been fine, right?
Yeah, he did say that. With all due respect. Yes, of course. You clearly mean respect. And everybody's saying this woman was like, I don't know, she's some producer at ESPN, been there 40 years. She's great. Everybody loves her. And so whatever. I don't know. He's just, dude, Patrick Beverly's the worst. Tonight, we've got Mavs Clips.
We do.
And Kyrie Irving, I saw a stat on Kyrie Irving. 12-0 in his career in closeout games. That's pretty baller.
I'm excited for it. I think
And he's a
what are
moron.
they, favored by 8?
I don't know. I didn't see
8.5.
With Big Will bets, he would know.
Well, it's
where's your
also in
money?
my update.
Oh.
It's also here
Should I
after
listen
prime
to the
time.
Oh, we have the game on?
After prime time.
Okay.
Starts
cool.
at 6:30. We will break in live at 7.
Yeah, I can't interrupt the last half hour of the club.
Boy, that is a bad luck franchise that can't get anything together.
Who? Clippers?
Yeah.
Should they blow that up? I mean, you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard. Like, Russell Westbrook's a joke, and I would imagine they'll just move off of him. But do you run that back? Do you keep, like, Kawhi? He's in and out of the lineup. He's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if I run that back. I don't know what I do if I'm the Clippers.
It's well, number one, I think with Harden and Westbrook, you just dump that. You gotta, my opinion on it. You gotta find it in the draft. You gotta get lucky.
Yeah.
You just gotta draft and draft and draft.
Harden, I mean, at least Harden still will contribute sometimes. And I don't think they're paying him. Well, maybe he's in $30 million range. Maybe they do need to move on there. But Russell Westbrook,
you're talking about two
anyway.
guys that are like Dominique Wilkins. I mean, put up huge numbers and don't win. They can't lead.
Yeah.
They can't carry the bags. They can hit the shots, but they can't win.
But don't they have to run it back for at least 1 or 2 more years because they are opening the brand new stadium next year?
I imagine they do run it back. I mean, I don't think many would punt on that, but I just don't think they're going anywhere.
No,
They're not winning anything.
They're not. Well, and how old's? I mean, even
Kawhi's
even
33, 32, younger than you think. Look that up. Paul George, older than Kawhi?
He's a free agent too, I believe.
Kawhi's 32, so he'll be 33 next year.
Still got time. He just
Little
can't stay
bit.
healthy, man. How
Right?
old's Paul George? How old's PG?
13.
And who's worse? Who's worse off?
Paul George is 34.
He's 34. Oh, one more year.
Well, he'll be 35 next year.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, we're talking about a very on the edge old franchise, and Harden is, gosh, didn't they say the Clippers were the oldest team in the playoffs?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, my God, they have to be.
Right, I think it was 29. Yeah, Harden's 34.
Westbrook's older than
Oh,
that.
what is Westbrook? Now
He's 80.
He is. He's a crypt keeper, baby. 35.
35. Yeah. And there's MVP, 35.
Yeah.
Hey, so wait, we missed one. The Clippers could win it all. It's either them. It's either them or the Nuggets.
Right. And how many people have talked about, Westbrook just being a statistics MVP?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Right. I mean, what he put up was
He was great.
unreal.
Well, they have 2 MVPs under 35.
It was unreal.
Harden.
Yeah, right.
So
we forgot about
we
that.
should classify him as the most overrated MVP of the last 40 years.
Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you could argue with that. I mean, MVPs are all pretty. I mean, the only other one would be when Steve Nash won back-to-back. That was kind of like, but Steve Nash was awesome. He wasn't overrated.
Yeah.
And Westbrook's really good. And we're going to lose sight of that. I think when Westbrook is gone,
Yeah.
we're going to lose sight of how great he really was. I mean, that guy was freaking awesome.
He was.
But my God, he just chucks and chucks like he's the old Russell. Like, he's obnoxious. Get his ass out of there.
Everybody leaves him open, so he's got to keep
Yeah.
firing. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
guess
know,
so.
I mean, you got to keep throwing it up
Shooter,
there.
shoot. Okay, so I'm going to give you the Clips, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Suns. Power rank the level of screwed.
Oh,
Because they've all got issues.
right. I'd have to look at draft capital they have coming up, right? I mean, that's my theory. Is you have to have the draft capital if you're going to rebuild. It's not through signing guys. Look at the NFL. The more free agents you sign, the worse your record's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is linear. The more you abuse free agency, you win through the draft in the NFL. Not even a question, right? So in the NBA, I don't think there's a question there either. So if you're going to blow it up, you got a 39-year-old LeBron James.
Well, they're talking now he may leave, but I don't believe that because he has a player option. But I bet you he stays in LA. See, he's too old. Like, to me, I think the Suns are in the best shape. I think the Suns can maybe get a new coach and then try to get Booker and Durant and Beal on the same page and then fill in.
Yeah, they're a lot younger, and maybe they have some. Maybe they can get all any of these teams like a Phoenix. To me, it's like just get lucky in the draft with one guy.
One guy, right?
One guy,
Change
right?
it-
We just
change
talked about the Blazers. One guy
late
can
20s
change your fortunes,
or early to mid 20s.
Yeah, it could just be a guy that's really good. That it's like a Sakeem at Toronto. It's like nobody knew how good he was, and now he's just filling it up.
So I'm gonna go Suns. Probably Clips.
Yeah,
they're still around, still relevant. And then
Lakers are toast with their age.
I think they are too, but the Lakers have a built-in advantage. Like you said, they've always been able to attract.
Yeah.
So as long as you have LeBron and AD.
So we're going Golden State.
Yeah, I think Golden State might be. They're in a weird spot.
And all three guys are all getting old at the exact same. It's all over at the same time.
Yeah, and you don't really want to move on from Curry because he's an icon.
Yeah.
But
and you're not getting any draft capital for Thompson. He's broke. Draymond, you're not getting any draft capital for him.
I mean, they do have a couple young guys, but
yeah,
I think they're in the worst shape.
The Suns would need an MVP, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because KD's over 35.
There you go.
Oh, that's right. He is that old.
Dude,
Right.
he's ancient.
But we're talking.
Shut up.
Yeah, we're just talking winning games here.
How old is-
We're not. I mean, if we're talking winning a championship, the best thing to do is trade for as many draft picks as you can right now.
Right.
Just tank it all.
That's what Oklahoma City did.
Right, and then you got to get lucky in the draft.
Well, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City did it.
They got so many draft picks they didn't even have to get lucky in the draft. They just had to keep drafting.
Mm-hmm.
And they have.
And look where they're at.
Yeah, and I think they still have more.
Right.
Have they dealt them all? I don't think they've dealt them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. All right. Little hot NBA talk for you guys right there. And by the way, Frank Vogel, the guy with the Suns, I don't know if he's going to get it or not, but guess what? He's going to get fired. He's going to go
Always
the way
the
of,
cheapest one.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Right.
Darvin Ham out. Frank Vogel is probably out. There's NBA talk. Okay. In the news is coming up next. We have a zebra on the loose. Here's Will. Hour, Hot 5 at 5. You know the routine. It's Friday. Right now it is May 3rd, 2024. It's time for the news. I'm your news. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. No need for a standing ovation, Dave. Thank you. One piece of meat.
All hail our rightful newsman.
Thank you. Today is No Pants Day. Although I see you wore pants.
Well, it was conflicting because my wife was like, so are you going to put pants on to go down there? I'm like, and then I was like, so I guess you want me to take a shower on a non-Tuesday as well. I mean, it's been pretty rough today.
It's tough. I'm sorry that you have to wear pants.
Even on shower.
On No Pants Day, yeah. I bet you Dave goes a long time between showers sometimes. I can just picture you down in your den, typing on your computer, coming up with another algorithm.
It's on the phone a lot, actually. I got my data partner does a lot of the data. I got to deal with the coaches and the GMs and the chief of staff, etc.
It's also International Space Day, Dave. Do you like space?
I do like space.
I do too. I have a hot space fact for you.
Give it to me.
Galaxies that we know of. How many galaxies do we know of?
Isn't it like 2 billion?
2 trillion.
2 trillion galaxies.
Yeah, you were off by
a couple of zeros.
Yeah.
Right.
We know of over 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
How many outside of the Milky Way can we see with the naked eye?
With the naked eye?
Correct.
I've never seen another galaxy with my naked eye, so I'm going 0.
1. Dude, isn't that wild?
It's not even comprehensible.
It isn't.
It isn't.
You can't even wrap your head around. What you
isn't.
need to do is do a couple gummies and sit there and think about it.
Oh, I think I've
and maybe host a podcast on it after a gummy. Or 2.
You can't even comprehend the size even of our own galaxy, let alone the other
2 trillion of them.
Right?
Not 1 trillion, 2.
Right? And our sun's orbiting our galaxy.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, space is cool.
It is cool, but just completely beyond my mental comprehension.
I have zebra news for you, Dave. The small town of North Bend, not North Bend, Oregon, North Bend, Washington, is quite famous for its mountain wildlife, cougar, elk. Maybe you've been up there hunting. I know you're a big hunter.
Right.
Great town.
You been up there?
Yeah, it's on the way between Seattle and Ellensburg.
Yeah, it's like east of Seattle.
Yeah, it's
on
east
the way
of Seattle,
to,
west of Ellensburg. There's some outlets there.
Yeah. Oh, Bigfoot sightings.
Okay.
They have a lot of Bigfoot sightings there.
But I've never hunted zebra in Washington.
Bigfoot likes the outlet stores. Zebra, yes. A zebra that escaped with 3 others earlier this week. They were on the way to the zoo.
Yeah.
3 of them were wrangled. But this 4th zebra, still on the loose, man. In the Cascade Mountains.
Full on jailbreak. Oh, are we gonna get some elk zebra hybrids out of this?
You know, I hadn't thought about that.
Right, little striped elk running around.
What about the striped Bigfoot?
Well, we do have there is a lot of wild horses when you get out there past Goldendale up there. God, wouldn't that be great if you commingled with some wild horses? God. Go finding some honey is outside of Yakima.
You're so right.
That'd be a mob from North Bend, but I'm here for it. There's a kangaroo farm out there too. Maybe striped kangaroo.
We need more gummies.
No, it's real. I went to school with the person who owns it.
I know. I'm just trying to think of like the kangaroo zebra doing it, and now it's like, ugh.
There's wallabies out there.
Well, the animal has moved into the Cascade Mountains, and they say an effort to catch it could take days. So they were, I don't know how they escaped, but they were in a trailer on Sunday. They were being moved to Montana, and they all 4 got out of there. Made a break for it. 3 of them easy to wrangle. 1 of them partying in the woods.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
That is.
And I'm here for it.
I hope they don't catch him either.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right?
I want that thing to just thrive.
4 years from now, somebody catches him on a trail cam, Boom. There goes Joe. Still on the loose.
They say it has been returning to a feeding station that they've put up to try to lure it back, but yeah,
He's
people are
crafty.
out. It's become a whole bit up there. People are out looking for him, and they can't find him in the woods. Where is Oregon among the states with the best roads, you ask, Dave? It doesn't seem like we have very good roads.
Yeah, but
Do you think we have good roads?
I don't know.
Well, apparently Oregon is in the top 10 across the country when it comes to quality roads.
Boy, somebody's got some pretty crappy roads, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I think. Like, some of these roads are terrible.
Well, and part of it is probably like, okay, is it just highways? You know, what are we taking into account here? But
They said they calculated the average rate of acceptable road quality. This is between 2011 and 2020. It was done by the experts at Personal Injury Lawyers Munley Law. Acceptable road miles in each U.S. data from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics between 2011 and 2020.
Okay.
Oregon was number 10. The award for best roads in the country goes to Idaho, which scored a 95% on average acceptable road miles. And you got to hand it to them. They don't. I mean,
Are the top 5 low population density states?
after Idaho is Georgia.
Okay.
Was
There goes
just
there
there.
goes
and
that hypothesis.
I was just in Georgia, and I will tell you, having driven a lot of it. Well, not a lot of it, but we drove around a lot. Great roads.
Yeah.
And I even noticed it, like it stood out to me. I'm like, wow, these, freeways in Atlanta and the roads outside of Atlanta on the way to Augusta and Lake Oconee and all these places we went, roads were great. Georgia was number 2, not surprising. Tennessee number 3, North Dakota number 4, Nebraska number 5.
Okay.
So kind of.
So 3 out of 5 of them low population, which means those roads are simply driven less by people.
Well, to further your theory, last place, New Jersey.
Right? So, I mean, if all roads are created equal, the worst roads are going to be the ones that the most people drive on, right?
Yeah, 50.71% acceptable roads in New Jersey. That's not good.
I know that there's I'm sure there's a few listeners out there that would tell us the worst spots in Oregon for roads, but well, top 10.
Not bad. Although I think that's kind of bunk. Having lived here, we're all kind of like shocked that we're top 10, right?
Well,
So
let's
I think we know a little something.
Let's go with the grain of salt that this study was done by Personal Injury Lawyer Group.
Right.
So,
Right.
a little asterisk
Yes.
next to that one.
All right. Up next, how do we feel about cell phone use in schools? It is 4:43 on the Fan.
This is the Fan's window into sports.
2024. We've got the Hot 5 at 5 coming up in moments. Dave Bartu will tell you what he thinks of the upcoming Oregon Ducks football season as well. You didn't know that, did you?
No.
Or maybe you can do that Monday if you come back. Dave's flirting with coming back. He has so much fun on our show.
Well, if the listeners want me back, I need some listener text line to make me give me some feel goods.
You need that?
Worthy of coming back.
You need that in your life?
No, I don't.
They love you.
No, I don't. As long as you or Sook's happy with me being here riding shotgun, I'm cool with it.
Hey, not everybody can come in here and stir it up with us. Not everybody wants to.
Well,
and look, I've had bigger names than you.
It's intimidating. I mean,
let me tell you something. I've had bigger names than you come in here, and they suck.
I'm just a little guy from Forest Grove, man.
Yeah, but you're blowing up. I fully expect to read about you in some sort of Hall of Fame down the road.
Nah.
One of these things.
I like being behind the scenes. I do.
Yeah, but you gotta stay focused on one thing. That's the thing with you.
Yeah.
You've told us before. If you stay focused on one thing, you can take it deep.
Yeah.
But you do one thing, and then you're like, oh, well, what about this?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh man. And then you start working on that.
Yeah. The brain does not always go in the right direction.
The Dave
it
brain
chases squirrels. Shiny
squirrel. All right, where were we? Oh, how do we feel about cell phone use in schools? Of course, I don't have kids in school anymore. But I was kind of under the impression that you could not use your cell phone in most schools, like in the class.
Depends on the policy. I mean,
it's school to school policy.
Yeah,
teacher to teacher, really.
Is it really?
Well, it depends. Like, I was up at an elementary school today. At that elementary school, no phones at all, right? Like, you have it, it's in your backpack. If I see it, like I'm supposed to take it, I'm not touching another student's phone.
Do you see a lot of phones? Do the kids have the phones out?
Not 5th grade to kindergarten.
K through 12, or K through 5, right?
TK through 5.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have a lot of phones anyway.
No, but like middle schools, high schools, depends on the teacher. I know one teacher, they make them put it up. Like when you go to grab your calculator, you put your phone in the thing where the calculator
in the classroom.
was.
Okay, so they can't. So they can, once they get out of the classroom and go to the next class, they can use their phone in between classes.
They take it back. Yeah, but I also like most kids have Chromebooks. If you forgot your Chromebook, I'm usually okay if you use your phone as like your Chromebook. I can tell.
You're a cool teacher.
Well, I can tell if you're on Instagram or TikTok, or if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's not that hard. I'm not that old. I can figure it out.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that you couldn't really use your phone. They wouldn't let you. But Portland Public School Board met Monday night speaking about technology in the classroom. They think it's both helping and harming students, and they're now considering policies regarding cell phone use during school hours. They are saying that a lot of parents don't want them to ban phones because they want to be able to get a hold of their kids when someone rolls in with an AR-15. But outside of that, most of the data shows that kids clearly learn more and do better in the classroom when they do not have their phones.
Yeah, they need to be focused. They need to be challenged. The harder
right.
you challenge them, the better they're going to be. But yeah, it's school, depends on the school.
So should they have a district-wide policy is I think what they're saying. And I don't know, I think they should. Why not?
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck.
Now, why do you say it that way? Parents?
Yeah, I mean, the first time something happens,
where a parent can't get a hold of the kid,
parent can't get a hold of the kid, or a kid can't get a hold of the parent, good luck. Have fun. Like,
yeah.
The cat's out of the bag on that one. Like, you already have your phone. You just have to make sure that the student puts it away. And if they don't put it away, then you take it, right? Otherwise, like, you can't not allow them to have their phones in school. They're just going to show up with their phone anyways.
So acceptable is, they're definitely going to have their phones on them.
There's no way they're taking it away.
No, you can't take it away. The question is where do they put it? Do they put it in their pocket? Do they put it in, like you said,
backpack?
And you have to leave it in there. Yeah. I mean,
the new fun one, though, is the Apple Watch. You have it right there on your wrist.
Yeah.
How you taking that away?
Hey, by the way, life hack. We were just at the Masters,
Yeah.
That's an end around. So you can't have phones in in on the grounds at Augusta National.
Right.
They will. I mean, dude, no one has their phone. They do not.
Yeah, not even the
mess
reporters.
around.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But we had somebody get in there with an Apple Watch, and they can check the scores and stuff, which was interesting. I was surprised that they didn't confiscate the Apple Watches. But anyway, yeah, that's a little life hack there, right on their wrist.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. They're talking about it. Portland Public Schools. We'll see what they do. But if we're listening to our teacher friend here, Will, probably not a lot going to be done here.
Good luck. Like
district-wide, anyway.
Well, even if they make the rule, good luck.
Did you see the story of the Beaverton man out your way, Dave? His name is Billy Ray Trueblood.
Billy Ray.
Have you read about
Trueblood.
him?
Well, I know that we're if we got a middle name, we know this is going to a bad spot, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's 33. He's very bro-y. He was just sentenced to 41 months in federal prison and 4 years supervised release because he was giving fentanyl to people, and he gave fentanyl to a guy who ended up dying, overdosing. Sad story. But apparently they were looking for him, and they could not find him until one of the detectives in the investigation of him and him dealing fentanyl, they saw him at a Blazers game on TV.
No way.
Yes, and that's how they got him. Yeah, they said after the victim's fatal overdose, investigators tried to find Trueblood, but were unable to do so until one investigator spotted him on television at a Trailblazers game. The investigator relayed the information to police officers at the game, who located and arrested him on the spot.
Dude, why doesn't anything cool like that happen when I'm at Moda? Right? Cuffed and stuffed.
Yeah, they said he had, when they cuffed him, he had a large amount of cash and several types of pills, including some that resembled those found in the deceased's.
And he got 4 years for killing a dude.
Bedroom. Yeah, he got. Is that what I said? 4 years.
4 years.
And then 41 months. Yeah, and then 4 years supervised release. Isn't that crazy? I guess you could argue that, well, I didn't know or I didn't mean to.
Right. I'm sure the argument was I had no
that
idea.
person
blah,
is
blah,
the
blah.
one that ingested
Yeah.
it. But, yeah, pretty crazy. Don't go to the Blazers game if you're dealing fentanyl.
Yeah, and don't take fentanyl.
And don't take fentanyl. Actually, look, I don't do drugs or anything, Dave, but that would, to me, that would be a hard one to navigate. Like, how do you know?
You test it.
All your drugs?
Well, I don't do drugs, but my understanding is you can test it. There's like test strips you can use and stuff.
For okay, I'm just going to sound like an old man. Powder, pills.
That is my understanding.
Heroin, any of it?
You can, if you're going to do something, you can go and test it to make sure there wasn't anything added to it.
Yeah, there's actually out of Europe, there's a lot of good drug test strips like that. But again, somebody has to have the wherewithal of buying those in advance going, I'm worried about my street drug dealer putting fentanyl in it.
Being high on
drugs.
Right?
I don't think that person's decision process is quite up to snuff.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. All right, that is in the news, May 3, 2024. When we get back, we will get the Hot 5 at 5 in here. We've got a couple of free agent wide receivers who have new homes. And, hey, I've got Mike Riley news.
Hello.
Did you see what's going on with Mike Riley?
No, I love Mike Riley, though. I need some Mike Riley news.
And Oregon adds another top transfer to their football team. So we'll get to all of that coming up next in the Hot 5 at 5 on The Fan. Archie.
Sorry.
And Big Sook's out on vacation. He'll be back next Wednesday. Dave Bartu is in today. How about Dave coming in
Oh, I know.
off the top rope, dropping some knowledge on us? He is going to tell us in our next segment how he feels Oregon may do next season. And we've got a little scuttlebutt coming out of Washington in their spring practices and all that stuff up there, Dave. And maybe some other stuff. Joey Harrington's going to join us at 5:30. And then we'll have the club. I've got a segment somewhere in here. We're going to try to squeeze in a seggy on horsey names.
Horsey name. Oh, well, it's Derby time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This is the only day we can do it because the Kentucky Derby is tomorrow. So, yeah, that's what we've got going on. Right now, are we... I think we're ready for the Hot 5, which is like on time. It's weird.
It's weird, right? Because usually I'm driving home about this time listening to you guys, and it's 5:15 and you haven't got to it yet.
You want to tell us a story? Story time with Dave?
Story time with Dave?
Are you kidding me?
We could.
Any murders lately?
What did we... We went through my 5 brushes with
Dude,
murderers.
Of all the... Okay, so I got
That's one of the greatest clubs ever.
Well, of all the times you've been on our show, which has been many over the years, we've even broadcast from your house.
Yeah.
And that was a fun day.
Oh, there was some drinking in that day.
That was a fun day.
That's when the chickens got let out and in my house.
Yeah.
You're
That's
invited right. You invited P1s to my house, and everybody leaves and there's chickens walking around in my house.
Some of the key guys, Dieter and RJ and the guys were all there, and the chickens ended up in the house, which is probably why we have not been invited back, and probably why I have not seen. I don't think I've seen your wife since.
No. It was you guys were invited back the next year. You guys just never. You just dropped it. I thought it was going to be an annual thing. No, because my wife was a little liquored up, and you put her on the air talking about the Gambinos in Jersey. She grew up next to the Gambino crime family.
That's right. Well, anyway, of all the times you've been on our show, there was one club, and I remember it because we were out at Pumpkin Ridge for the Corn Ferry event, and we did a whole club on your brushes with murder.
Yeah,
which. I think there are 4. You said 5?
Yeah, there's 5. 5 different murderers that I've been in the car, back of the car, picked up hitchhiking. Some connectivity,
Dude.
Most famous murderer. Power rank the murderers you met. Go.
Oh, power rank? Well, you'd never heard of any of them.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of murderers?
Well, okay, give us one. Okay, you said, hey, we could do a story before the Hot 5.
Right. So one of them was right here in Vancouver. Right? This is when I was working for banking and consumer finance, and I was sent out to go repossess the dude's ATV. He wasn't calling back. Nobody knows where he was. I was trying to track him down. I went to his house out like Battleground, like out past Souk, way out there. And his house was in the woods, and there's nobody else around.
Now, are you going?
I'm by myself.
Are you going? Oh my God, this is not.
No.
good.
I wasn't thinking anything of it.
Really?
Right? I was like,
okay.
I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go repossess this guy's ATV. He's got.
What do you do? Just hop on it and ride off?
No, I had my truck, and I was just going to just put it in the back of the truck. That's how we did it back then, right? You go make a call. What? And so I circled the house looking for the guy, looking in the windows, looking in the garage, and. I just tried to figure out where it was. I said, even if he wasn't there, if I could somehow get in the truck, I'm taking it home, right? Or I'm taking it back to work. And couldn't find it, couldn't access it. So I left, thought nothing of it. And a couple of days later, I get a phone call from police detective. Why are you at the house? Why is your voicemail on this guy's phone the day before he allegedly disappeared? I'm like, I got nothing, right? Nothing. Bada bing, bada boom. Girlfriend killed him, chopped him up, put him in the sewer tank.
Jesus.
Behind the house that I was walking around.
So his body parts were just.
I think so. What couldn't be flushed was put in the top of the septic tank.
God. So he wasn't the murderer. I thought for sure you were going to tell us he was a murderer.
No,
it was his girlfriend.
It was his girlfriend that came in with him to get the loans from me all the time. And
so you knew her, or you had met
I knew
her?
of her. I knew what she looked like. I had been around her.
Did you peg her as a murderer? Was there something off about her?
No. Now, the one I did peg as a murderer is the guy who always picked me up when I was hitchhiking home from high school.
Okay. And
that
he was
guy, that guy was creepy, super creepy. But
you thought nothing of getting in his truck?
Well, I got in the back all the time.
In high school.
I got in the back. I never rode in the front. I just got in the back, and where the bus dropped me off, it was like 2 miles to my house. So I would take any ride. But that guy always creeped me out. And it turned out decades later, this guy would pick up hookers in town, bring them back. I won't go into the details, but a few of them he killed. And then his property, about a half mile from our place, he'd put him underneath all the garbage that he accumulated, and when he burned his garbage, everything got burned in there.
Is that not a famous name?
I don't know if it's a famous name or not.
Well,
you'd have to look it up. Yeah, if
are you not going to name him?
What was his last name? I'm trying to remember what his.
It's like I think I've seen this in a movie.
Yeah.
You may have seen it on CNN.
Who was the famous guy in Oregon that he killed? I don't remember exactly who he killed, but he put him under the cement well.
Oh, that was out in like Oregon City. The
Gresham, Oregon City, somewhere.
The only one that sticks out to me around here is either Bundy or the Green River Killer, but I know that's not.
Well, Green River, he was from Kansas, I think. Bundy is from Seattle.
Bundy, there's a memorial at Central Washington. I believe one of his victims was picked up at Central Washington.
Well, this turned morbid.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, anyway.
So this was let's see here. It was his dad. His dad was.
All right.
Well, his dad was Sam Christie. This is down in Humboldt County, California, where I grew up.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking this was Oregon. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, there's 2 murder stories for you guys. How about that? I love that. He's got. And by the way, most people don't even sniff one instance like that. You just mentioned 2, and there are 3 more.
Yeah.
God, you're an animal. We got to get to the Hot 5 at 5.
We do.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Yeah, I was thinking of Ward Weaver. Remember that guy?
Oh, yes.
That creepo?
Yeah.
He's a local guy.
No connection there.
What do we have here? Caitlin Clark. Her Indiana Fever debut is tonight. Does you care?
I do care only from the standpoint that once every team plays 3 games, I can start betting the WNBA again.
Oh my God, you bet the WNBA?
Oh yeah.
You have a.
I got a model. I got a model for betting WNBA totals. Oh, and always bet the under in the second half of WNBAs.
Why?
It is like I don't know if they run out of juice or what, but on average, your average WNBA second half is 47% of all the scoring in the game. They rarely score more in the second half than the first half.
Wow. Okay.
So you look at that first half number. If it's 50 and the over/under is 50,
4.
you are going to be under every single time.
By the way, that is just a preseason game tonight, but it is sold out. The Indiana Fever will play the Dallas Wings. Free agent wide receiver news. Chase Claypool has, he actually visited with the Seahawks, but he signed a 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. And then the Dolphins have landed Odell Beckham Jr. On a 1-year deal. So he'll go to Miami, and they say the incentives on that deal could be upwards of $8 million if he hits them all. So yeah, a little NFL news. Also, Oregon has added to its already top portal class. They land Michigan State defensive tackle Derek Harmon. He chose Oregon over USC, Ohio State, and Colorado.
Dude, who wants to go to Colorado, man? That's one of the worst staffs in college football. They're going to be lucky to not go 0-12.
Is it really? One of the worst staffs in college football?
Oh, it's horrid. Horrid.
Why don't you help them? That's what you do.
Yeah. No.
Prime didn't call you, did he?
No, I'm guessing that phone call's never coming, boss.
Yeah, he knows better than you.
He knows better than everybody.
Familiar face is joining the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Former Oregon State coach Mike Riley.
Where have you guys been?
He's 70 years old. He replaces Pat Chun, who is was the athletic director at Washington State. He just stepped down to leave the Cougs to go be the athletic director at Washington. He stepped down from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. So Mike Riley will be involved in the goings-on of selecting the 12 teams, the rankings for the College Football Playoff.
That's cool. I mean, if the ranking rules don't change, it's going to be the same as the last 12 years anyways. They never really change rules.
And maybe he can give the Beavs a little
it's
representation.
It's never worked that way. And I don't even, are the Beavs even eligible for playoff consideration? I don't think so.
They are. They're an independent. They're just going to have to be in the top 12 of the rankings.
They're just going to have to go 12-0, right?
Pretty much.
Hey, so you're saying there's a chance?
Well, if they lose to Oregon, but then win the rest of their games, are they even in the top 12? That's going to be close.
Not without a conference championship game. Probably not.
Right.
Or at least the highest ranked one.
Well, they don't have a conference championship.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have that conference championship game.
Yeah.
So not only do they have to go 11-1,
they got to beat Oregon.
They still have to be higher ranked than any other.
You're right. They probably got to be undefeated.
Yeah.
LeBron claims another one. Lakers fire coach Darvin Ham. Although I think Ham was a LeBron guy. I think LeBron wanted Darvin. Anyway, Ham is out. Just 2 seasons, 90 wins, 74 losses. He went just 9-12 in the playoffs. Not his fault. That Lakers team isn't that good. LeBron's a little older. But odds-on favorite for the gig now is, believe it or not, Mark Jackson is being talked about. Also, David Fizdale. He's the take that for data guy. And Nick Nurse. Meanwhile, the Clippers say they are looking to lock up Ty Lue to a long-term contract soon.
Number one.
And number one, we do have some playoff action tonight. One game going on in the NBA. The Magic lead the Cavaliers 47-44 as they near halftime in Orlando. Should Cleveland win that game, they would move on in the playoffs. They are up 3-2. And then tonight, the Mavericks look to close out the Clippers, 6:30 on ESPN. Dallas leads 3-2. 2 games on the ice. It is Preds Canucks. End of the first, no score. Vancouver leading that series 3-2. And also in the West, it is Dallas leading Vegas 3-2. They will what do you call it when they start a hockey game? The puck drop.
Drop the puck.
They will drop the
puck
at 7 on TNT in Las Vegas. There is your Hot 5 at 5. It's brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. Dave will tell you how Oregon will do next season. Next on The Fan. A was Kansas. You were right, Will. You were talking about Green River Killer. That's Gary Ridgway, and he was Tacoma, Seattle. And then of course Ted Bundy, famously UW.
I know my murderers. Well,
you do.
Hey, Uncle Dave is a detective.
Yeah,
That's about as far as I'm gonna go.
And then BTK, and I forget his name, but he was from Wichita. He was the guy that worked in the church.
Kansas history.
Yeah, and he looked exactly like the guy that worked in the church in Kansas. And yet he was a murderer. So we've got Dave Bartu in here. We're going to get Joey Harrington in next. Yeah, Oregon football. You know, and I don't think this is hyperbole, Dave, but you call me off the ball if you think I'm crazy. And I'm not trying to just suck up to our listeners because we have the Ducks. You know, everybody always like, yeah, you guys are just... Dude, here's what I truly think. Bottom line, I think people have come to respect that Suk and I, most generally, we don't really have a dog in any of these fights. We just tell it like it is, and that's what we're known for.
Right, whether you're right or wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I will admit, I am harder on Oregon
than
said
that
anybody else because that's where I graduated from.
Yeah.
Right? I'm an alumni, so I am going to try to sugarcoat this as little as I can because I don't want anybody going, no, you can't be doing that.
Another thing they'll say is, oh, you just love Lanning. And I do love Dan Lanning. We have him on, and I enjoy him. I think he's a good dude. I sort of understand him a little bit more because we're both Midwest boys. Like a lot of the stuff he says, I totally identify with. I know where he's coming from. I think he is absolutely legit. And he's, the fact that he's staying at Oregon, all this to say, and this is not me just blowing smoke for any of the reason. This is what I think. I think Oregon is poised to win a national championship. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I think this dude, Dan Lanning, and what he is building, I mean, crap can happen. He could, who knows? Maybe he could leave, injuries. You got all kinds of things that could happen. But dude, this is as good as it's been at Oregon, and they've had some good things cooking down there for 20 years.
Right.
25 years.
Well, let's look at
Chip Kelly.
Let's look at our last 24 national champions. Okay, let's check some boxes here.
Okay.
Right? If you're going to go down that national championship path.
Yeah. I am.
Right,
I'm going down that road.
So number 1, are they a top 12 recruiter over the last 4 years? Not transfer portal. I'm just talking high school.
Well, but doesn't transfer portal change that now?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Why not?
We ran the numbers because
there's so many players.
No. Because Oregon's high school recruiting is going to be the equivalent of their transfer portal recruiting. Teams who recruit in the top 10 in high school recruiting don't suddenly recruit outside the top 50 in transfer portal recruiting.
So do you have an extra?
No.
You don't?
No, last year, the 4-year moving average, the best 4-year high school recruiter won 76% of all the games last year. That was the highest level in 24 years. And we didn't include any transfers. Any.
I got to tell you, I think that's, I don't know. I think you got to mix in a transfer model.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's
but
what I think.
It hasn't been supported yet, and we don't have enough data to actually mix it in there.
Yeah, it's too
right?
early.
Now, case by case.
Okay.
Now you might get bumps from an exceptional player, a Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay. A Cam Ward to Miami. Right? I mean, you and I both know a quarterback can transcend all of that stuff if he's good enough. So Oregon and Miami, in my opinion, from a transfer standpoint, they won the transfer just on those guys.
Okay, but you're just saying top 12
high school recruiters, which Oregon is. Oregon is.
They are top 12?
They're like number 6.
Wow,
they're awesome.
That's better than I even thought.
It's
and that's Lanning.
Dan has built on top of what Mario has done. Okay, they both have done an exceptional job. Oregon, talent-wise, is in a better spot than they've ever been. I will 100% agree with you with that.
Right?
Do they have the talent level, recruited talent level of the last 24 national champions? Yes, they do. So there's our first box.
There you go.
Right? There's our first box. All right. So that's one of our most important ones. Were they top 25 in offensive and defensive scoring efficiency last year? And the reason I'm asking that is because every single national title winner was top 25 in total scoring efficiency the year before they won it.
In both?
Combined.
Offense and,
Combined.
combined.
Combined. Right? You have
Really?
to. So what it tells you is you have to be good before you're great.
You're trending there. Okay.
Right? You got to be good before you're great.
Were they?
Oregon was top 10 in offense and defense last year.
Okay.
Okay. So this was a really good team last year. Do they have from a staff standpoint a top 40% offensive and defensive coordinator? This is where it gets a little bit iffy because with Will Stein, you only have 2 years of play calling, but it's been excellent. UTSA and Oregon, right? So with their staff, I would say if there's only a national championship question mark is the combination of Dan's, Will's, and Tosh's total experience. It's been good at Oregon. The last 2 years, offensively, everything's been really good. Defensively, it's trended up. And so that's really my only question mark there. But when it comes down to the two key things, performance last year and recruiting, okay, those are your two big ones. Every single national title winner has been top 12 recruiter over the previous 4 years in my numbers, and top 25 in scoring efficiency the previous year. They were good before they were great.
So they fit the profile.
They fit the profile, man. I mean, this is
what's his coach effect?
This is a tier.
Lanning.
He's never beat a team that has out recruited him, and I think he's only played one, and that was Georgia.
Right. 0-1 there.
Yeah.
But has he lost to a team that he has out recruited?
Oh yeah, he's lost to Washington twice and Oregon State. And he probably wins three of those games if he doesn't go for it on fourth down. The numbers are against him when he goes for it on fourth and long all the time.
So he has a negative coach effect because of those losses.
He does, but you also there's a caveat there in that
they don't ever play a team that's out
they
recruited.
played 24 regular season games under him, and 23 of them they've out recruited the guys.
Yeah.
They should be. He has no plus coach effect opportunities. He only has downside. Right. So is he above average in winning expectations in those 23 games? If you go by the numbers of teams getting upset or not, you would expect him to lose more games than he did. All right. So he is still trending up, and what he has done with the talent he has in his peer group is still very solid. Right. So I would say the only question mark I have for Oregon from are you a national title contender is the overall experience of the coaching staff. But the coaching staff, they only lost one guy this year too. That's the other thing. Look at all the coaching continuity they have. They kept their OC, they kept their DC, they kept their head coach. They lost Lachlan to Ohio State, but they turned around and got a guy that in our grade book for a career is just as good. Samples out of Arizona State. That guy is huge upside.
Running back
coach. Right. And so they have a lot of continuity where you look at the schedule that they have, and we can go through this if you want to, is look at the 3 of their 4 biggest games. The teams they're playing were gutted.
Yeah, the schedule lines up well.
We've
talked about this before. So Ohio State, they get at home.
Right.
And then Oregon State, Washington, and Michigan, the 3 best teams from last year, not named Ohio State, they will play this year. They all are not nearly as good as last year.
Right. I mean, he from a coach effect standpoint, here's how good Oregon's recruiting is. If Dan goes 12-0, his coach effect is 0.
Yeah, so they out-recruited Ohio State?
No, but because it's at Eugene, the difference between Ohio State's recruiting and Oregon is so close.
Wow.
The home field advantage, we've always had a little tweak on the home field advantage.
Right.
So this is
what's their toughest game outside of Ohio State in Eugene?
It's hard to say, really, right? Because we got Idaho, that's going to be a W at home, right? It should be. Boise State's at home. Oregon State gutted, right? Talent and coaching, that's gutted. UCLA's been gutted.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no money. They went and hired like a Raiders running back coach to be
Deshaun Foster, baby.
Dude, why don't you just say we're out of money, man? Oh my gosh. Michigan State, new that's at home.
Jonathan Smith.
But that's a whole new staff, right? So now you're getting Michigan State that has been completely turned over. You get UCLA that's been completely turned over. You have Boise with a new head coach. You have Oregon State completely turned over. You got Ohio, right? I mean, this is
crazy.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. They could have handpicked it.
Yeah, I looked at this and I'm like,
they let them pick their schedule.
It's like they let me pick the schedule, right? It's like, here's the 12 teams, you pick the schedule. And then
is Penn State on there?
No.
They missed them.
Yeah, they dodge Penn State, right? They dodge I shouldn't say dodge, they just don't have them. They get Ohio State at home.
Well, they don't play USC.
No, they don't play USC. They're at Purdue.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. That should be Illinois at home.
Michigan.
They're at Michigan again. That coaching staff and that offense is gutted.
Completely different.
That team, I'll take Michigan right now as the most likely team currently in the top 25 to not be there.
Okay.
Maryland at home.
Jesus.
Right? At Wisconsin.
Yeah. Luke Fickle got something cooking.
Luke is good.
Late in the
Coordinator's
season.
good.
Cold.
Phil Longo's good.
I don't love that.
No, that's
a trap.
sketchy one.
Yep, that's a trap.
It's not a trap because the next week's a bye.
Well, I don't. Okay, trap's not the right word. Okay. It's a scary game.
Right. Well, that's the other thing I'm looking in here is where's the trap? Maybe Maryland. You go at Michigan, and then you go at Wisconsin, and in between is Maryland at home. There's your trap game.
That's a trap. Yeah.
So Maryland's your trap game, right? Your most likely loss, is home against Ohio State, and then you get Washington again at home again.
Yeah,
Gutted.
That is manageable, man.
This is.
So you agree with me? They're in a championship window.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're in a championship window. They're also in a competitive window because you have Washington, Michigan, Michigan State, UCLA, or you have all this turnover on your schedule. And in the Big Ten, they also have a scheduling opportunity. So the opportunity from a schedule standpoint, somebody has to take advantage of it. It is Oregon or Ohio State. Somebody has to take advantage of all these teams that are in turmoil. So we might get Oregon. We could get Oregon, Ohio State a couple times. We get a Big Ten title game
twice.
3
times maybe. So they play once in Eugene.
Yep.
They meet in the Big Ten title game.
Yep.
And then they meet in the playoff
game. And they could do it. Bam, bam, bam.
Dude, I can't wait for this 12-team playoff. I really can't.
But this is if you're a Duck fan, this schedule has got to give you tight sport pants right now.
Yeah, I think that's right, Dave. I think that's right. Love it. Ducks in a window. All right, coming up next, Joey Harrington joins us for his Friday chat. But first, Will with SportsCenter. Birthday Time with Joey Harrington. And he grew up in Pennsylvania, but said that since he's out, he was vacationing there again.
Why do you regret things from me? Why is that regretful?
It's actually a really good question. Maybe I don't.
Screw him.
Yeah, forget him.
Yeah. If he doesn't want to hang out in the Copa Isache, then he doesn't get so.
He's in the Caribbean. Wait, the Caribbean.
Is it Caribbean or is it Caribbean?
No,
See,
I think
I go Caribbean
No.
unless it's the Disney ride.
Well, wait. Why would you change it just for the Disney ride?
Just because that's how it is.
No, I believe it's. Okay, let me think about this. It's Caribbean, I believe, because it was the Carib tribe.
Oh.
Yes, I believe that is correct. But Americans say it Caribbean, and I do believe that over time, just no one wants to deal with Americans, so they just accept it. I think that's how that works.
Oh, okay. I appreciate the knowledge.
Maybe wrong, but I think that's right. It was an Indian tribe, and I think they were the Caribs, and that's why it's Caribbean.
You know who would know?
Not Sook?
Sook. Oh, he definitely know this. This is like right up his alley. I could hear him like, oh yeah. In 1737, they came, and you know what happened? They took their rum. And so you know what? I'm leaving. Screw them. Like I could hear him. Like this is one of like those knowledge things where it's like he doesn't know like basic math and basic science.
Can't spell a thing.
That exactly. But like that useless bit of, I shouldn't say useless, but like that random bit of historical knowledge that you look at him and say like, how in the hell did you know that? Like that's Sook.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him the first minute I get a chance when he gets back. I'm going to ask him if he knows this. He should know this. He's in St. Lucia, which is in the Caribbean. He should know this, but something tells me he may have no clue.
And something also tells me that he may not be in a state of mind to respond to that question.
Oh no, I just mean when he gets back. I'm not, dude. He ain't texting me. If I text him today, he ain't texting back. Now, have you been down there? Have you been to
phone, who dis?
Yeah, exactly. Have you been to the Caribbean?
I have. Jamaica's in the Caribbean.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Yeah, that was where I played video games with NSYNC.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Famous Storytime story.
That was, I should say NSYNC minus Justin Timberlake. It was the uncool. It was like the unsync, right? It was, I'm trying to think who else was there. Dante Culpepper, Ray Lewis, somebody else random that I wouldn't have. Let's see, Jamaica. I can't think. I mean, Florida Keys. That doesn't quite get down into the Caribbean.
I don't think so.
It doesn't. No.
Well,
I think that's it.
Never been, and I don't know that I'll ever go. I mean, I don't know.
Why?
Well, I don't know. There's nothing really drawing me there. I mean, there's a lot of pretty beaches and islands, all over the world. It's just never been on my mind.
Is your thought that if I'm going to lay on a beach, I'm going to go somewhere that's closer? If I'm going to go lay on a beach, I'm going to go somewhere that's more exotic? If I'm going to go, like what is keeping you from exploring like a pirate of the Caribbean?
Both of those things, I would say, but probably just closer. I'm going to need to hear about more than just palm trees and beaches, and tiki bars.
Scuba diving.
Not interested.
Sailing.
Not really interested.
No, check that. I have been to the Caribbean. I have been somewhere else. I went to the Cayman Islands.
Oh.
Why do I remember that? Because I got to. I was holding a stingray at this place called. What was it, like Stingray something or other? And anyway, it was like this big old sandbar that all the fishermen used to come out and just like toss like all their scraps, and so all the stingrays started to come and eat. And I guess one guy just jumped out and he's like, hey, it'd be really cool if we could just like hold them. And so sure enough, like they're now tame because you feed them.
Okay.
And I mean, it's not like some like squeezing cheese whiz in the tank. Like you're out in the middle of the Caribbean, just happen to be on this like sandbar, and sure enough, like you put your arms out and like a 8-foot stingray like swims up and like rests on your arms. Pretty kind of little unnerving at first.
Yeah,
So
I'd
that
say
would be
a
a
lot.
good reason to go.
That's kind of cool, but the stingrays that's a kind of a freaky, what is that, a fish? Freaky fish, freaky animal, freaky thing. I don't want to mess with stingrays, especially after the Steve Irwin incident.
No, it's not like he really died. Or he did.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I
said it's not like he really died, but then I was like, yeah, no, he did.
Yeah, no, he right through the
died
heart.
from the
Yeah.
stingray. Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
dude. Where have you not been that you most want to go? And then we'll get into some hot
South
sports.
America.
Yeah.
South America.
Anywhere in
I
particular?
really haven't. I mean, all of it. I haven't been, Argentina. I'd love to go to Brazil. I'd love to go to Uruguay. I'd love to explore that part of the world. That would just be Chile. Oh man, so cool.
That's next on the list. Go to Machu Picchu and then go to the Amazon. The jungle is amazing.
A buddy of mine carried. Remember Steve Gleason?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever. I'm sure you saw at some point. So Steve was an incredible linebacker, undersized. When you want to talk about the smallest linebacker ever playing in the Pac-12 or Pac-10 at Washington State, and then ended up as a special teams player safety with the Saints. And when I got to New Orleans, he had just been diagnosed with ALS. And there are plenty of, there've been a few documentaries about him. But my buddy, Scott Fujita, carried Steve Gleason to the top of Machu Picchu.
I did see that. They did a big thing on that on ESPN. I cried like a baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Steve, what do you want to do? I want to go to the top of Machu Picchu. Okay, how are you going to get there? You're going to carry me.
Dude, and that is not, like that, I don't remember exactly in the piece how far they went, but that is not an easy climb.
They went to the top. They did the whole thing.
Well, there's two. There's Machu Picchu, the ruins, which you can take a bus up to, but he obviously didn't take a bus. So that right there, the hike from the town up to that is not that easy. It's steep, right? And then there's Huayna Picchu, which is the big peak where you can climb up to the top and look down onto Machu Picchu. So I don't know if they did that.
I think they just did the ruins.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he carried him to the top of Huayna Picchu, dude, that guy deserves a medal because it's steep and long.
Well, for as small, if Steve Gleason is the smallest Pac-10 linebacker I ever played against, Scott Fujita was probably the biggest Pac-10 linebacker I played against, like probably 6'6", 255. Looks like he could. Yeah, he's a grade school principal now.
Is he really?
Funny how that. Yeah, he is.
And Steve Gleason is still with us, which is amazing.
He is.
I believe. Now I don't want to hit you with something you don't know and shock you, but you know that our old producer, Mike Lynch, was diagnosed with ALS recently.
I saw that. 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, absolutely horrible. Could not have happened to a sweeter, nicer man, and we're all devastated here. But that is a nasty, nasty affliction.
Yes, it is.
I want to ask you today's poll question, fine sir. This is our friend Joey Harrington here with us on the Fan. Now, I think that I want to say you have attempted all four of these things more than most people. Okay. So the question is, what is the hardest thing to do well? So we know you've played quarterback, so that's one.
Okay.
We know you've played golf. That's two.
Okay.
I believe you played basketball, so you shoot the three is on the list. You played in high school, didn't you?
Yeah. I had a couple small college offers.
Yeah. Okay. Could ball out. Okay, so you know that one well. And then the fourth one is switch hit. And I don't remember if you ever played baseball. I don't think you did.
No, not at any high school or beyond level. Although I will say that after I had a wrist reconstruction in January of 2020, since then I've had to hit from the other side of the plate.
Oh.
You know, and the big family softball games, or just pickups to when like Benny the Jet calls up and go to the Sandlot, and and Squints Palladorus called, and we all sprint down there, and I have to hit from the left side of the plate now. So I do have a small bit of experience. I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing to do out of those four?
Well, so you
do
have
well.
to be more specific.
To do well.
Okay. Do what level are we talking about here?
Well, I mean the highest level.
Are we talking about to be a professional? Is it because all of these things, to do this in Major League Baseball and to hit a 3 in an NBA game, to like, what are we talking about?
Well,
are we talking about doing it in high
it,
school, or are we talking about doing it on the playground?
No,
like, you got to give me context here.
What's the hardest thing to do well? So I would say that the highest level. So, for example, quarterback, you probably have about 15 people that play that position at the highest of high. In golf, you probably have 25 to 30 or so that play at the highest of highs. Shoot the 3, our line of demarcation there was 40% in the NBA. For a season, there were 40 guys who shot the 3 ball over 40% last season. And then switch hitters, I mean, there are several, but there aren't many. There's less than 10 that do it well right now in Major League Baseball. So that was kind of what sparked it. JT Snow, the old switch hitting San Francisco Giant. I think he played mostly for the Giants. He may have played for the Cardinals, but he said recently that switch hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports, and that's what inspired the poll. And you, having played quarterback, I thought, let's ask Joey.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
So here's what I'd say. How many, if you go to a golf tournament, right? You go to a PGA golf tournament, how many people are in the field? 75?
120.
120. Legitimately, how many of those guys do you think could win?
25 or 30.
Ooh, I'd say 60.
Well, one tournament, yes. I think that
I'm just talking about one tournament.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, maybe.
I would say that 60 of those 75 guys could win that tournament.
All right. I'll give it to you. Accepted.
I mean, how many first-time winners do you see it all? And I'm not talking about going to win the Masters, but
But the fields aren't all equal.
The Shell Houston Open.
Yeah.
But you're just talking about doing it at a high level, right? We're not talking about
Okay.
I think that if you, I was going to say hit a 3 in an NBA game, there's a lot to be said about honing your craft, right? I think that more people could hone a craft of shooting a 3.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's a specific thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's a specific craft. I can shoot, and 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 I can shoot. I instinctively say quarterback because there are so many other variables, right? It's not just can I, let's just start. Can I throw a 26-yard post route on a rope, hit my back step, and cut one loose? There's only a handful of people that could even do that.
There's a line. There's a baseline of athleticism and physical traits that you must have, unlike golf.
Exactly. And now, unlike golf, but like somebody putting a hand in your face when you're shooting a 3, now it's make that decision while everybody else is trying to murder you. And now adjust to, you're cutting it loose to this spot. Well, what if the coverage dictates you go to another spot, right? What if coverage dictates, or what if, your receiver gets jammed and now you're not throwing that 25-yard post. Instead, you're throwing a 15-yard cross coming underneath it, and you need to be able to read and recognize and understand that. Like there's more in going into it as a quarterback. Here's the thing that I will say about baseball. And I don't know if have I told you my baseball story?
No.
I took batting practice with the Tigers.
No, I don't think you've told us this.
So when I was in Detroit, I took BP with the Tigers, and I hadn't swung a baseball bat in forever. But I'm a professional athlete, so of course I should be able to figure this out. So I get in there, and all right, let's just. BP coach is in there throwing, and he's probably throwing 70. I'm gonna guess 75, right? 70, 75. And I get in there, I was like, all right, here we go. Let's just see what this is. And that ball comes in. I was like, okay, all right, so that's what this looks like. Take a couple cuts, foul a couple off. I was like, all right, and kind of get the timing, and start hitting a few ground balls and start hitting a few line drives. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. Stuff that's just like line drives out of the infield. And I hear from behind me, it's like, hey kid, you need to use more left arm. I was like, more left arm? Yeah, use more your left side. And I was like, more of my left side. And I'm thinking to myself, like, who is this old dude? Like talking, who are you to tell me what's going on? And I turn around and I look back, and Kirk Gibson and Al Kaline are leaning on the batting cage. And Al Kaline says, yeah, when you're coming through, you got to use more of your left side to turn through on that. And I was like trying to think through it. I just see Kirk standing there and just grinning. He's like, what he said. I was like,
damn.
Okay, yes, sir, absolutely. Okay. I was like, left side. How do I do this? So bam, ball comes and I was like, I like uncorked my left side. I was like, oh my God, I got it. Hit this thing out to left field, and I step back. And I kind of admire that. I was like, oh my God, I caught that thing so flush, and it's deep, and it's going, out to left field. And I was like, that's got a chance. And the left fielder who was out there shagging, he's probably 30 feet in front of the wall. He comes running in about another 20 feet and catches it, a good 50 to 60 feet in front of the wall. I was like, yeah, that's everything I got in the bag. And so I handed the bat back. I was like, thank you so much. That is a skill that I just don't have. So to be able to do that on both sides of the plate from a pitcher who's not throwing 75-mile-an-hour lollipops, but instead throwing a cutter at you at 92, I'm not going to say it's the most, but I think that people are going to, I would put it up there.
Okay. Fascinating. Well, I've got one follow-up to this, and then we're going to ask you in honor of the Patrick Beverly situation last night. We're going to ask Joey when we come back, did he ever blow up at the media? More with our friend Joey Harrington coming up next, courtesy of Mods PDX on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Yeah, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Michigan State, has chosen Oregon. Big get out of the transfer portal. They say he's one of the top guys in the portal still. Was also looking at USC, Ohio State, and Colorado. Big kid. So another good get for the Ducks. Derek Harmon on the defensive line. Mods PDX, the future PDX, he claims, I think you're claiming, switch hitting hardest to do well over playing quarterback. I think that's what you said.
That's not what I said.
Damn it. Well,
no. I said it was probably second.
Okay, probably second. Okay. Golf third?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you compare the art of playing quarterback to? Can you relate it to anything else in sports or life?
Playing chess while in a boxing match.
Fantastic. That's a great analogy.
I literally just thought of that. Like, if there was like a table in, like, imagine like being in the ring with Mike Tyson and he's on the other side of the table and he's trying to punch you in the face, but then you're trying to, like, pawn to rook 4 at the same time while, like, avoiding his uppercuts. Like, that's probably the best comparison.
That's a great. Do you think that because there's a little bit of a debate we've had today about Charles Barkley was, on Inside the NBA the other night talking about how, players are more.
I love it, by the way.
You love what?
I love Charles. I saw that.
I do too. I think that's one of the best sports shows on TV. I absolutely love it, and sometimes I think it's better than the damn games. It's crazy. At any rate, he was talking about players versus coaches, and a couple of coaches, Darvin Ham got fired by the Lakers, and Frank Vogel's probably going to get turfed by the Suns. But he was saying, hey, listen, and he was kind of shouting down the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, saying, hey, if you just want to be friends with the players, the reality is you won't criticize the players, but it's the players' fault more so than the coaches. But in the NBA, the coaches are going to take the fault of the easier guy to get rid of. What is it in football? How much of failure in football is coaching versus the player? And do you think, to your analogy of chess during a boxing match, would anything have helped that? I mean, does better coaching, I'm sure it would help, but is there some point of view or part of you that thinks, that was just really hard?
I feel like, and again, like, not that there aren't moving pieces in basketball, but you can, you run a 4-out set, isolate a guy and kick for a 3, right? Those are those are two very specific things. One, the first piece is I have to beat this guy one-on-one, right? Mm-hmm. And if I beat this guy one-on-one and get to the hoop, I score. If I beat this guy one-on-one and defense weak side help collapses, I kick it out, guy hits a 3, right? That's very simple. That's like basic stuff. Within one very simple basic football play, you have so many different working parts that it's tough to make that designation, like, oh, well, it's player or it's coach. Because it could be player at one position, it could be coach at the next, it could be head coach setting the culture, it could be, like, you could have the greatest quarterback, offensive coordinator in the world, but if your offensive line coach doesn't help his guys understand the fronts that they're going to be blocking against, and your quarterback gets blindsided, like that's not on either the player or the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, right? Like, there are so many different moving pieces that I think it's tough to nail it down in football. The thing I will say is that great head coaches establish a culture, right? Great head coaches establish expectations. This is what I expect you to do. If you do it, this is what's going to happen. If you don't, I'll find somebody who will. I'll never forget my conversation with Nick Saban when I was being traded. We were trying to figure out where to be traded to, right? I had some say in this because I had 2 years left on my contract. And in the NFL, you have to be traded with your contract. And I was not worth what was left on the last 2 years of my deal. So anybody who traded for me was either going to have to, A, take me with my contract, which nobody wanted to pay, or B, renegotiate a contract with me. But I was very clear that I'm going to choose who I renegotiate with. Therefore, I'm going to control where I get traded to, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could trade me to Cleveland, but I told Cleveland, they called me on draft day, like, all right, we're going to trade for you. I said, that's great, but I'm not going to renegotiate. And they said, you won't even consider it? I was like, no, I'm going to Miami. Because I sat down and had a conversation with Nick Saban in Miami, and he sat across from dinner with me, and he said, look, we traded the second round pick for Dante Culpepper. We're going to trade a 5th round pick for you. I don't care what we're paying. Because of that, he's going to take the first reps. You're going to take the second. I don't care what we're paying him. I don't care what we're paying you. If he plays better than you, he plays. If you play better than him, you play. Can you deal with that? I said, that's all I've been looking for. I'm in. Right. And in week 3, I got the job. Right. So a head coach establishes a culture by which the players and the other coaches live by. So which is more important, which is harder, which is easy? I mean, I don't know. It's not really apples to apples in my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. I just remember David Carr once saying that he never learned defenses. He was alwa't only studying his offense. And he thought that was his downfall.
And that's why I think Jeff Tedford is the greatest football coach I ever had.
Because he taught you
defense?
defense?
On day one, because our offense is predicated by what the defense does.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Within every play, these are some of the details. Like, okay, we're going to run a pass play. Okay, a very simple route concept. We're going to run a 3-by-1 set on the front side. The middle receiver is going to run a clear seam. The outside receiver is going to run an 18-yard dig, and the tight end is going to run a slam flat release. Right? You have a one-on-one beater on the backside. You're going to have an 18-yard comeback on the backside. So on the snap of the ball, pre-snap, you have to make sure you're protected. Right? Look at the guys up front, know your protection. If you have to slide, if you have to adjust, you make that call based on what they look like. And then on the snap of the ball, what coverage are they in? If they're in single high coverage, you're going right back to that 18-yard comeback because that's what their defense tells you is going to be open. If they're in a quarters coverage, that inside seam is going to take the top off the safety. And now you're looking to, here's the defender you're looking at. That Sam Backer on the front side, if he drops too far underneath your dig, you're going to throw it to the flat. If he stays shallow because the dig draws him, you're going to throw it right over the top. You have to know what the defense is doing because that dictates what you do on offense while you're getting punched in the face playing chess with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, well, he says he again, that comes back to coaching. He never got that, which I thought was pretty interesting. 2 other bits here before we let you go. Joey Harrington with us here on The Fan. Did you ever blow up at the media in your time in Detroit or anywhere else for that matter?
No.
Never happened.
No. My MO or my nickname actually became Joey Blue Skies, right? I don't know if you remember that. Because after each game I would try and this was, we've talked about this, just trying to keep my I had to find something to hold on to. And after each game, it would be, we lost, 28-17, but here's what hell, right? But, okay, well, I can, here's something that we did well. And the media just kind of got tired of it. They wanted me to call people out. They wanted me to say, yeah, this sucks. This sucks. And looking back, I probably should have.
Yeah, right.
Right? There's nothing wrong with getting kicked in the teeth and going up to the podium or sitting at your locker and saying, you know what? That sucked. And we were bad today. Because when you acknowledge because that's all the media and that's all the fans wanted me to do was to acknowledge what it was that they were feeling, which was this sucks and I don't like it. Right?
Yeah.
But there's a way to do it which doesn't I don't say chastise the people who are just doing their job. I mean, that was embarrassing. That was absolutely self-centered, like the most embarrassing thing I could think of somebody doing after. Like, subscribe to my podcast or I'm not going to talk to you.
Wasn't that ridiculous?
Like, I mean, are you serious? Like, she's one of the most respected media members in this entire sports country. And you have the idea, like, who are you to push her microphone out of the way? She's doing her job. And you know what? If you would pay attention to your contract and understand that you are contractually obligated to speak to the media afterwards, right? That's your job. Whether she subscribes to your podcast or not. Like, I'm sorry, that was a joke.
Yeah, he's the worst. I really don't even know if he actually believes that. Like, you think he really thinks that all the media that's there to interview him should be subscribed to his podcast? I mean, that's awful presumptuous.
Yeah. Again, this goes to another level of, conversation that we've had, which is when you are a professional athlete, you have to think that you are the greatest thing in the entire world.
Mm.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going to because nobody can deny that Pat Beverly has had his longevity, right? He's carved out a niche. You want a defensive guy, you want a spark, you want a guy who's just going to be an absolute bulldog in there for you. Pat Beverly's your guy, right? And he believes that he is valuable, and he believes that there's nobody in the world who can do the things that he does. You have to have a massive ego in order to do that. And that's like, this is the whole conversation. And part of why I think I ultimately didn't succeed at that level is because at a certain point I realized that, like, I wasn't the end all be all. There were people out there that were more important than me. There were people out there that were doing things that were actually more meaningful than playing a football game on a weekend. Right. And it's almost like the moment you realize that the world doesn't revolve around you is the moment that you realize that you're fallible, and is the moment and that's the moment that you fail.
Well said.
Right? And so Pat's got he got to have an ego to be that guy. And it came out last night.
Especially the way he plays. Yeah, you're right. All right. Joey Harrington here. Last thing, I just want to check in on I believe the sneaker raffle ends tonight. Only a few more hours?
It does. A couple more hours. Again, sometimes you get kicked in the teeth, and sometimes you crush it. This is one of those kick in the teeth things. We have not had the sales that we want to, and I'm going to be honest. If you're looking for a pair of Holy Grail shoes, 2 pair of Holy Grail shoes, there is going to be no better odds than tonight. I think last year we did about 20,000 in sales. Right now we're probably just pushing 6.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Oh yeah.
Good odds.
This is, you want to talk about, your best odds to win some of these shoes. Now would be the time to do it. So, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, though, to make 6, hopefully after this show, 1,000 more, or 50 more people go by, $6,000-$7,000 for students and scholarships off a couple pair of shoes. That's, at the end of the day, it's still a pretty dang, not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, not nothing. And I think what did you say, $40 per ticket?
$40 a ticket. Get a pair of 107 individually designed, the only pair of Jordan 1s that Tinker Hatfield has ever done. And you know what? They've got the Harrington Family Foundation on there, so it could be better than that.
Yeah. Tell the sneakerheads in your world. There's I think 11:30 p.m. 11 o'clock tonight is when that ends.
11 o'clock tonight. Yep.
So that's your last chance. You can buy as many tickets as you want. Like you said, your odds are good. So I reposted it on my X account at IROP, or you can go to harringtonfamilyfoundation.org and pick them up there. All for a good cause. All right. Thank you, sir. Good stuff today. We will talk to you next week.
You bet, buddy. See you.
All right, that's Joey Harrington, courtesy of Mods PDX. The future of building is here. Let's move on to the club next on the Fan.
What's better than booming bass in your car? How about saving up to 30% on a bass package from Car Toys? Right now, all Alpine and JL audio bass packages are on
So is Dave Bartu, man. Still here, by the way.
Dude, I love that opening.
Yeah.
I do.
You want to play with our drop board?
No, I do not want to mess with the drop board, but you know, there's nothing like driving home and it gets into the how and why are you drunk at 6 p.m.
You're an idiot, Sue.
You take your helmet and shove it up your little kid ass. Some of my finer works.
Oh, I don't.
All right, we got to take a break. We're way over. I went way too long there. Me and Joey.
Can't blame Joey.
We're just talking it out. So when we come back, we're gonna do a seggy on horsey names. 6:17 on the Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell out fast.
Right, okay.
On 1080, The Fan.
Double sun power!
All right, we got the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. You guys gonna watch the ponies? I will. I always watch the Kentucky. I love the Kentucky Derby. I think it's great. One of the reasons it's great, it's only like 2 minutes long.
You ever bet the horses?
I do, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll bet the ponies.
This is my first year.
Yeah.
Just placed some bets during story time. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
fun.
I worked hard.
I used to go to my brother lives in San Diego, and we go to Del Mar racetrack down there.
Okay.
I have so much fun. As a matter of fact, I went down there one time, and I was like, I don't know any of these horses. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to find somebody on Twitter that knows what they're doing. And there was a guy, so I looked up Del Mar racetrack betting or something, and I ended up finding this Twitter guy who that's his track, and he's always there betting the horses. And so I DM'd him. And I think because he saw I was a sports host or something, he got back to me. This is at the track that day. And he's like, I was like, hey, who do you like in race 1? Who do you like in race 2? Who do you like? Dude, he won me money.
Just kept feeding it to you,
Yeah, he
huh?
just kept feeding it to me. He was great.
That is, I know from a social media standpoint, as a dad, I hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
And in terms of what's real or not in there, I hate it. But everything I have done in the NFL and college football all started in social media.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, man.
LinkedIn and Twitter. Holy
LinkedIn.
moly.
Yeah, we were talking about LinkedIn last night.
LinkedIn is my NFL conduit.
Yeah.
I just started messaging and connecting with NFL, GMs, assistant GMs.
Mm-hmm. They're all on there.
They're all on there.
All
None of them are on Twitter.
Right.
And then on the Twitter side,
if they are, it's a burner.
On the Twitter side, it is every single head coach or chief of staff, or they've all found me there.
Yeah. Social media, baby.
It's been phenomenal.
I have two things for you.
Yeah.
One, I've got my favorite horsey names, top 10.
Okay.
And you can grade them as we go through them. And I've got a little piece of audio. It's only about a minute. It's a great horse race call because of the two horse names that are battling down the stretch.
I
want to
know where this is going.
It's just classic. The Kentucky Derby is tomorrow. Best names to win the Kentucky Derby. These are champion horses. All time, you have Lil E.T., like the rapper, in 1992. I'll Have Another, I think is a great horsey name. They won in 2012, and Funny Side in 2003. But we have not had any outlandish Derby winner names. The best names in the field this year, in my opinion, are Catalytic, which I think is kind of a cool name, Track Phantom, and my favorite, Mystic Dan. Did you bet on Mystic Dan? Because you should bet on Mystic Dan.
20-1.
Boom.
I did not bet on Mystic Dan, but I do know his odds. I was looking at it. I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Now I know no matter what the odds is, you'd be betting I'll Have Another.
That's
if that horse came up,
that is
you're
a
like,
great
I don't
horse.
care what the odds are.
Great horse name.
I don't mind if I burn my money.
So my favorite horsey names, in no particular order, Sir Clip Clop. These are real. So you like that one. This one's a little dirty, Dave. I know, Dave, you don't like the blue, but Two in the Pink.
Okay.
Come on, that's fantastic. Bodacious Tatas.
Bodacious Tatas.
Real horse name. May the Horse Be With You. Come on, that's a classic.
Dude, tomorrow's May the 4th.
Red Hot Philly Pepper. And then the top 5, I don't know if I can say this one. Sofa Can Fast. Say that fast, and you see where we're going with that. That's a great name. Sofa Can Fast. Panty Raid.
Great
name.
We're only 7 deep here. What I would really like to know is how were these names determined in the first place?
Right.
What
yeah.
What were they drinking? Or what were they on? A little Columbia Bam Bam,
Yeah.
Who made these decisions?
Right, there's probably great stories behind all these.
All right, top 3.
Top 3, Glue Stick. Harry Trotter. And Al Capone, which I think is just fantastic. Al Capone. Those are the top. Those are my favorite horsey names. Okay, so here's this audio. I don't even need to tell you. It's all self-explanatory. It's only about a minute. It's not the whole race, but it's towards the end of the race and then the finish of the race. This is real. So this is really.
You can't even keep a straight face. You're about to hit the button.
I just think it's great.
It's 14 years old.
Yeah, it's 14 years old, and it's like it can't be set up. Like it could not have been set up. The way the race went is just perfection to make this guy have to.
It's like watching poker and seeing a royal flush. It's like it just shouldn't happen like this, right?
Little Miss Macho is in second. After that comes My Wife Knows Everything in third. On the far outside, The Wife Doesn't Know is moving up and is now fourth, and right alongside of My Wife Knows Everything. My Wife Knows Everything and The Wife Doesn't Know are moving together on the far turn, and they're coming after Lady Mutada coming to the quarter pole. Lady Mutada in front. Here come My Wife Knows Everything and The Wife Doesn't Know on the far outside. Little Miss Macho is fourth. They're into the stretch. Lady Mutada, My Wife Knows Everything. Center of the track, The Wife Doesn't Know. Into the final furlong. My Wife Knows Everything. The Wife Doesn't Know. They're 1-2. Of course they are. My Wife Knows Everything in front. To the outside, The Wife Doesn't Know. My Wife Knows Everything. The Wife Doesn't Know. My Wife Knows Everything. More than The Wife Doesn't Know. Whew. This Tallahassee was third, and Morningside Heights was fourth.
So wait, do you even know who won? Could you tell who won?
No, I was just enthralled.
By the
with
way,
the names.
that's a great call because he actually nailed it.
Oh yeah,
it's just really hard to follow because the names are so close.
Right. I mean, this goes back to your New York Knicks Villanova. How'd you get those two names 1-2
right
in that race?
Right. First of all, for the race to have both horses with those names, with the names, and then to have them finish 1-2 and have the guy tight, and the guy has to call it. Fantastic.
Glorious.
In honor of the Kentucky Derby, which is tomorrow. And I always love the Kentucky Derby, and I'm going to have a mint and julep, and I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch it.
Just one?
Probably multiple.
Thank you.
Now, who did you bet on? Let's go to Big Will Bets. Who is the favorite?
The favorite, hold on, I got to get my cheat sheet
Will's
out. I know
lock of the
Sierra
weekend.
Leone is the second favorite.
Ooh, that's a good name.
Fierceness is your 5-2. That's the betting favorite. Got to be careful, though.
Okay, read about that horse today. Apparently, Fierceness is faster than all the other horses, but Fierceness is kind of a weenie and doesn't show up all the time.
Also, Saddle 17's never won the Derby.
Ever.
You got Sierra Leone, second favorite, starts slow, finishes strong. Forever Young, that's the Japanese horse. 5 out of 5 wins, but traveling all the way over. There were some travel delays. Jason Worth is the minority owner in Dornouch, 17-1. And then your long shots are like Mystic Dan, Just a Touch. Maybe.
Give me a long shot that's worth betting.
Mystic Dan has second fastest horse based on speed records.
Yeah, see, I'm going with Mystic Dan. What a great name.
It
Mystic
is.
Dan.
I'm going back to your top 10, and you know what keeps there's two that keep ringing in my head.
Which?
The one that cracks me up the most is Glue Stick. They had no
come
faith.
on, man.
They had no faith in that horse, right?
Dude,
no faith in the horse, and considering my age, Red Hot Philly Pepper.
Yeah.
You
like that one?
I gotta get Red Hot Philly Pepper.
I don't even like that band, but that's a great name. And Sir Clip Clop. I mean, come on.
Clip Clop. What was that from? The 20s?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would want to. I think horses are beautiful. And so I'm kind of conflicted on horse racing. But I do think, I love the ponies. I just think they're, the pageantry of it and the animals are one, it's just a wonderful animal.
Mm-hmm.
Little conflicted on the fact that we race them.
Right.
And I know all the conditions, you hear about all the, and then putting the horse, was it Barbaro on the track? And I was like, don't like that part of it.
Right.
But I love the horses. And I don't think I would ever own one, but I would love to name some. I want to name that. I want to name horses and a boat. And a yacht. But apparently I'm not rich enough, so I have none of them.
And your own Scotch brand.
Ooh.
Rothenheimer Scotch.
Ooh. Okay. We could start there.
I mean, maybe if I come back Monday, I need to come back with top 10
Rob
Scotch brands.
Isachi. What about Isachi? Although it's not very Scottish.
No, I'm thinking more.
Isoche.
That's like sake or something, right? That's your sake brand.
Isachi. All right, up next. Oh, Will, we never talked about the bowling ball fight. I want to talk about the bowling ball. Have you seen the bowling ball fight?
No.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, everyone. I mean,
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Dude, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It's just crazy.
Viral video news. That's next. Here's Will.
Now from the
Of the week, or worst, all in the eye of the beholder, as Will said. is the viral video out of Miami where there's a bunch of people bowling. That's what you do at a bowling alley. You bowl. And it breaks out into a fight, and they start chucking bowling balls at each other. It's the damnedest thing. Dave, you just watched it.
It is. I'm going with it's the worst video of the week.
Okay. Yeah, it's
because when that chick gets clonked upside the skull with that one.
Dude, have you ever seen someone go down so fast?
Just straight down.
Straight fast.
Oh, she went down hard and fast.
I mean, I don't know what could possibly set these people off so much that you just start winging bowling balls. Like, normally you would just, maybe fight.
It wasn't a couple of throws either.
No.
I mean,
one chick gets like 3 or 4 in. She just starts winging them. Dude, it's great. And the woman that got hit in the head, dude, she is lucky to be alive. Because the other one, the woman who throws him more, she gets hit.
Yeah.
But she kind of shrugs it off. She gets hit like in the back, and she shrugs it off. The girl that got hit in the head, dude, they said she got out of there. So the cops showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Cops got called. By the time they showed up, they said all of them were gone. Victims, perps.
Everything cleaned out. Yeah.
They got out of there. But, I mean, how strong are those women to be able to hurl those things like... I mean, they're hurling those things like tennis balls. Dude, it's nuts. I don't even think I could do that. And look at me. I'm an Adonis.
And you're old.
Yeah, don't ask Will. Don't tell
Ancient.
Will. I sent Will some emojis today on text.
I sent you some new slang.
Oh yeah, I was listening yesterday. I got some. I had to go home and
You ready to slap the bag?
I asked my son. I'm like, dude, what's slap the bag?
I went home and I said, hey babe, let's slap the bag. She did not like that.
Yeah,
She didn't appreciate
I'm
it?
guessing that didn't go over great.
Should have called me. I could have explained it.
No thanks.
It would have been easy.
Anyway, new sport, bowling ball fights. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, no, I'll polite pass on that.
What would we
one,
call
boss.
that league? You're big into marketing. Ballbarians? Call it ball pin pals?
I still got ROP. I'm trying to figure out how to work ROP into the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd be commissioner of the bowling ball fight league. How would you fare if you had to fight someone with bowling balls? I don't think I would do well.
No.
You know what I'd do? I'd go for the shins.
I'd be just fine.
Right? Go for the knee.
Yeah, Will, you'd be all right.
Oh, Will
I'd be just fine.
Will be fine.
Well, you come from that higher attack angle.
Yeah, well, you want
How
to
would
fight
you-
from the high ground.
Well, how would you... Okay, so bowling ball...
Will would kill us, literally.
I read Sun Tzu.
Would you go overhead with the smash?
Like
death blow smash? Would you throw? Would you roll?
I think you start with an aerial attack from distance, and then I start moving in, but then I start
Dude, that's
getting
not easy to
heavier
do.
balls. But dude, I could chuck like an 8-pound bowling ball. Like worst case scenario, I'll just bowl it. Like I can bowl.
Well, that's what
hard.
I'm saying. I'm
Well,
bowling
yeah.
right into your shins. You're
Well,
going down,
I
and then
mean-
I'm smashing you.
Yeah.
That's what's up. How much does a bowling ball weigh?
Depends on the bowling ball.
All right.
You can get like the smaller ones. You can get bigger ones.
And Will's big. He can handle really big balls.
With both hands, Dave.
Gross. You guys are gross.
What are you talking about?
Suk would be having a field day with this, by the way, with the handling your balls talk. He loves that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 or 15 pounds, man.
That's a lot of balls.
Yeah, 14. Come on, dude, that's heavy.
I could do that. That's 2 pounds. That's nothing, dude.
Well, go watch the video if you haven't seen it. I would imagine even it's the women that are throwing the balls, not the dudes.
Oh,
But I think the dudes are impressed by the women hurling the bowling balls. They're like, wow, I'm not even mad.
I think they were trying to get the heck out of the way.
Oh,
man.
dude, they were like,
Yeah.
this escalated.
Yeah, let these two kill each other and let's get out of here.
Well, the one who threw the most was the smallest of all the people.
Yeah.
She's tiny.
And she was a badass.
She looked like she just got off the golf course.
Yeah,
Absolute
a lot of
badass.
anger.
Hey, did you guys see that there's one other sports thing I wanted to mention for this weekend? Did you see that the Tom Brady roast they're calling it the Groast, get it? Greatest of all time roast. Groast is this weekend. It's on Netflix. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. Are you excited about that, Dave?
I'm not getting up for that.
Tight sports fans?
Yeah, what do you think? You're not going to watch
No. Well, I like roasts. I think roasts
Yeah.
are funny.
think
done
it'd
by
be-
the right people.
I think it'd be interesting depending on who it was.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Right?
So
who's roasting it?
well, check this, bro.
Yeah.
Surprise roaster odds, because nobody knows yet.
Oh. Okay.
Or if it's out there, I haven't seen
Well,
it.
Kevin Hart's hosting.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's hosting, and then of course you have Roastmaster General Jeff Ross will be there, and he has to be. There is not a roast without him. He's excellent at it. And then Tom Brady. It's going to be on Netflix. They have odds on surprise roasters. The odds-on favorite being Peyton Manning, which probably will be there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's. I don't see.
because his Omaha, aren't they in bed with Netflix and like
I don't know
the whole rivalry thing? And Manning loves to yuck it up. So he's number 1. Eli Manning is number 2, and Jason Kelsey is number 3.
Okay.
And then you get into some fun names. Mark Wahlberg, 5-1. Matt Damon, 6-1. Could see it for sure, because Boston, the Boston thing. Tony Romo, 10-1. Phil Mickelson, 15-1. Jim Nance, 18-1. LeBron James, 20-1. No chance.
No.
Tiger Woods, 25-1. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, 25-1. Nick Foles, that would be great. He's
would be
33-1
fantastic,
because he beat him
right?
in the Super Bowl. And then Robert Kraft is 50-1.
Giselle's not on there?
No, she's not.
What about her new boyfriend?
Well, it has a thing for first ex to get mentioned, and Giselle is the odds-on favorite because he's got so many.
Oh, no question about
exes.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it-
Jessica Simpson, Layla Roberts, Tara Reid, Bridget Moynihan.
I think I'd pay money to have Bill Belichick spill stuff.
First guest to roast Brady, odds-on favorite, Bill Belichick, 2-1. Okay, again, the other list I was mentioning were surprise guests.
Yeah.
These must be people that they know are going to be there. Bill Belichick, 2-1. Rob Gronkowski, 3-1. He'll be there. Ben Affleck, 4-1. He's going to be great.
Yeah.
Because Ben Affleck is sneaky funny. Randy Moss, 4-1. Drew Bledsoe, 5-1, and Julian Edelman, 5-1. So it could be good. It could be good.
The fact that Belichick and Edelman and Gronk, teammates that couldn't talk about anything for 20 years and now can roast away.
They're all buddies, right?
Yeah. I think that might be fun. Might be as fun as Orlando-Cleveland Game 7.
What do we got?
Over.
Who won?
103-96.
Did my
Orlando.
Yes!
Your Orlando
Yes!
Magic.
I love my Orlando Magic. Bancaro, Franz.
Right up there with Mystic Dan.
Hell yeah. We got my weekend set. My Magic forced a Game 7, and Mystic Dan wins the Kentucky Derby.
It's amazing how your teams win so much.
I'm getting drunk. Isn't it?
It's incredible. You're like my
All my
in-laws.
teams.
All their favorite teams are the ones that win. It just rotates every year.
All right, we'll be back to wrap it up next on The Fan.
It's The Fan on Demand.
So that could be good. What's Dave Bartu doing this weekend?
Well,
give us a peek into the world of Dave Bartu on a Saturday and Sunday.
I'm thinking Saturday. I think tomorrow morning is a run over to the beach, run over to the coast.
Why? It's going to be raining.
Yeah, I like being on the coast. The dogs love running on the beach. I guess we'll have to see what the weather is.
It's not good.
Yeah, weather's bad. Can't golf.
You can. Probably not great, but you can.
I don't like golfing in the wet, the cold. Not my thing. Not my thing.
So what are you going to do? If you don't go to the coast and you don't golf, maybe cook up a nice brisket.
When you get I need to come back and bring Soup some more barbecue rub.
You are a barbecue master.
Yeah, I need to bring him some more rub for his meat.
Yeah, he loves that.
Yeah,
I want you to rub his meat.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
All right. Well, I don't have anything.
We got tip off on Dallas Clippers. Who are you?
Dallas.
Dallas.
My Mavericks.
Your Mavericks.
Yeah, they're gonna win, and then they'll play
I need to
my
listen to this
Thunder.
show and just every time you say my team, just bet that and see what happens.
My Thunder will beat my Mavericks, and then my Nuggets will beat
everybody.
Minnesota. And my Celtics are coming out of the East. How about that?
Yeah, so your Celtics and your Nuggets are going to face each other.
I think that's right.
Right.
I can't lose.
The only MVP left. Well, Russell.
No, that's
Russell
not true.
Westbrook's still in there, right?
Yeah, and Harden. You know what I saw today? I saw that Michael Cohen guy. So, do you follow the Trump trial at all? You into that?
Boop, boop. Nah, I'm not following that at all, man.
Do you remember this dude? Here, hold on. We gotta find something here. I'm coming hard.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
Probably.
That's Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
That was when he was testifying. I think, or I don't remember where that was from.
More,
probably.
Dude, just spit out the number, man.
I saw a thing today. He's up there. He's in the Trump trial and the whole thing. But they said that he has over 40,000 contacts in his phone.
40,000?
Yes. That's what he said.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
How is that plausible?
I don't know.
Piece of garbage.
Do you know how many you have?
Dude, that's 100 a day for 10 years. That's adding 100 people
I know.
a day
Isn't that
for
nuts?
11 years.
That's nuts.
That's not even feasible in my brain.
So I checked my phone. Can you do it easily on your phone?
The count?
Yeah, there's a count at if you have an iPhone. Well, you don't have an iPhone, but if you have an iPhone, if you go to your contacts, at the bottom of your contacts, it gives the total number of contacts. And mine is 1,437.
Mr. Popular.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, is that high?
I have 320.
948. 948.
948. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know. Oh, maybe I am awesome. Yeah, I think I'm awesome.
Well, again,
no, I think
rhetorical statements in this show. We know you're awesome and dead sexy.
No, I think what happened was there was a setting one time where emails, like everything got saved to my contacts. Half of them I have no idea who they are. But that guy had 40,000 contacts in his phone. It's nuts. Who's the come on, spill the beans, Bart.
Spill the beans.
Who you got in there? Who's the most famous person in your phone besides me?
Besides you? Sook?
Don't get me wrong, I like the tatted up whore too.
Who's famous? Fowler?
Chris Fowler?
Yeah.
Who you got, Will? You got anybody famous over there?
Joey Harrington. Maybe Gino Torretta.
Nice.
I got a bunch because of my work with the NFL alumni.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of Hall of Famers in here.
Well, let's hear it.
A whole bunch of those dudes. It's so funny when I get to the C's. Coach.
I have that too, just a lot less than you do.
Right? Oh man, there is. Who's the coolest? There's some cool coaches in here.
Well, who?
Wow! Look at that.
Dave,
look
we're
at
on the
that.
radio.
No.
You have to.
No, this one is. I thought I erased this. Mike Leach.
Oh, well, now I'm sad.
You shouldn't be sad.
R.I.P.
Dude, that guy lived it.
Hell no.
That guy lived it. That's some cool ones. Maybe there's a cool one that I'd never talk to the guy anymore, so I can say.
Well,
it.
my.
I got Bo Jackson in my phone.
Do you?
Blow his ass.
How about that?
Well, you
Beat that, dude.
You got Dan Lanning. I don't have Dan Lanning.
Yeah, we got Lanning. Got Chip in there.
The Chipper. Dude, how much fun is he going to have with Ohio State's offense?